And we are live. What's up, Concrete?
Hey girl, why you sound like you outside? I don't
I
know what
sound
that
like I'm
was.
outside. I know you ain't talking.
Yes. I do not know why you sound like how someone is outside talking like how Zoe sounded when we were talking to him. I don't know, it just came through like that. But what's going on with you?
Honey, inside.
Okay, you inside. What's up? How's your weekend been?
It was excellent, excellent, excellent. QT with Bay. So
Hmm.
we had a really, really good time. Really good time. Got some things done. Got some business taken care of. Went on a date. Honey, it was a good weekend. I got to tell you about that damn
Okay.
curling baby.
Ah,
How was your weekend?
my weekend was good. It was rather productive. I got some stuff done, which is always good. I am trying to check things off of my list. So yeah, I've had a pretty productive weekend, which equates to a good weekend. So yeah, it's been cool.
Excellent, excellent. What did you get into?
I had some errands to run and uh, dental appointment. I did some stuff around the house, just like trying to really just get stuff checked off of my list. So nothing exciting, even though this is All Star Weekend. In Atlanta. I ain't
You ain't going
engaging.
out to none of the parties, honey.
Baby, do I look like a party? No, ma'am. Even if I did, I'm not trying to
I
catch.
mean, you got your auntie look on, but I don't put nothing past the
Listen,
aunties, baby.
no, I'm an auntie.
Concrete,
And
you
we
look
end
like
up
you used to cut a rug, honey.
listen, not cut a rug. That was a long time ago. In addition to that, we end up in the middle of a Panasonic. Child, what I look like going out there? I'm good.
Oh, well, they didn't uh did away with our mask man. So Mississippi ended the mask
Mississippi,
mandate.
something else. Go ahead.
Baby, these conservatives down here, honey.
I'm
This
trying to
way
tell you, they
they
like ain't nobody infringing on our rights. We don't want a mass mandate. We
baby,
all
they
gonna catch Rona.
listen, they know
Mhm.
that black people are probably more susceptible to the disease. God
Mhm.
forgive me.
We
And I
have the
think
most
Mississippi,
pre-existing conditions.
yeah, so Mississippi say mask off. And
Mhm.
yeah, Mississippi is going Mississippi, honey. And so I'm just like, oh boy.
The sip
I'm
gonna
a
sip.
black baby, the sip is gonna sip. Exactly.
Yes, indeed.
So, I am a black seed drinking, wheat shot grass taking,
Mhm.
matcha tea and
Yeah, you better
ginger
be.
root,
Mhm.
aloe,
Mhm.
sip honey. I'm ready for
Yeah, all
that.
that.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Dr. C.B. Booker reading ass. That is me.
Listen, you better be because you got to get that immune system right. Because baby, y'all ain't playing down there. Okay, let me ask you
Baby,
this: when you go to stores, because technically it's not a mass mandate in Georgia, but stores have the right to require you to wear masks. But when you're out, like in the grocery store and stuff, do people typically wear masks?
yes. Now I'm going to tell you who don't. Black
Hmm.
people have really started to take it serious because I do think that a lot of us have lost people. Um,
Hmm.
if it's not directly, maybe it's like a person over. Most people I
Hmm.
know at least one person that
Right.
lost somebody. And so black people are like, put your goddamn mask on. Black people will look at you
Hmm.
crazy if you don't have a mask on. White people down here are like, oh, and some, I'm not saying all, definitely not all, but you
Of
have
course
the
not.
ones who are like, um, mask for what? Like, I don't need your
Right.
mask. I'm not thinking about your mask, whatever. And they'll look at you like you're the dummy or like you're the sheep. And so it gets really interesting because some don't buy into everything. And we're in a red state, so we believe in less government in our business. So black
I'm
people,
at it.
white people down here are like, yeah, government, you're not gonna be up in my
Screw
business.
you.
And so, honey, they took the mask off fast.
Mm,
Carolyn and I went to we tried some tacos, some burrito tacos this week.
hmm.
And even when we went to the little taco truck, like a white couple showed, they came up like without a mask, and we were all looking like, ew, there's a couple
Mm,
black people out there, and we like, what y'all doing? But
exactly.
and they're looking at us like sheep, and I'm like, it's crazy. It's really
Mm.
crazy. So
You know
yeah.
what? I find that interesting because I live in Metro Atlanta, but I'm in Cobb County. So sometimes when I go to like the northern region of the county, is a bunch of white folks, and typically you don't see them with masks on. And like my fiance, his gym is like in the northern part of the county, and like they'll come and they're cursing the staff out because they don't want to wear a mask. Like they will actually come in stores and literally curse the staff out because they don't want to wear a mask. And I get like I I feel like for the betterment of everybody, it's important to wear masks. Child, I double mask. I wear two masks since the
Oh,
CDC
you
said
ain't
that was a
playing.
recommendation. Listen, I wear two masks, but I've come to the realization that we don't need more mandates. We don't need more governing because that's a dangerous territory to get in. So I understand them saying, hey, we don't need y'all telling us, what to do. Like if that's essentially us giving up more of our freedoms in order for the government to like control our way of life. So I ain't mad at them. Just don't stand close to me.
Honey, yeah, baby. And then, the crazy thing is we've just done away with the common cold, right? So if somebody's coughing, I think everybody's looking around like, you see him coughing? Like, what the hell? So, it's got us a bit more paranoid.
Hmm.
Well, not down here in the SIP, baby. Like we said, the SIP don't SIP. So they ain't paranoid down in the
Listen.
SIP. They don't care. Um, honey,
That's a special place. I'm gonna just say that. I be reading about stuff
everybody
about
says it.
Mississippi. I read stuff about Mississippi, and I just be like, Lord have mercy. Why? I mean, I'm always seeing the craziest stuff. People talk about Florida, but baby, Mississippi is a trip too.
S- Mississippi is a special place, and I really think
Yeah.
it's something in the dirt here. If you go to certain places, like you really catch like a whole vibe. Like some people are just different.
Hmm.
Thought processes, how they think, and it's not lack of
Hmm.
education. Now I will say that I've seen some very wise people come from here, like
Hmm.
definitely very wise, but just the movement is just interesting. And then you don't think it would be like a lot of crooks and stuff down here. Baby, there's some crooks down here in the SIP, baby.
Why would someone assume that it ain't a lot of crooks down there?
You know what? Because they think country
Mississippi
and
was
they think,
founded on stealing from folks, stealing
baby,
labor. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
that part. But they think country and they think dumb, especially as it pertains to
Oh,
Black people and the lack of education,
I
right?
got you.
So, lack of education doesn't necessarily mean like lack of book smarts, excuse me, lack of street smarts. And
Hmm.
these are some hustling people, baby, these old people down here.
Hmm.
Mm, mm.
Listen, I feel as though I think that that's just a misnomer that people from the South tend to think that when you're from the North that you're trying to pull one over on them, because my fiance is he's from Jersey, and like he's gotten that before, like whoa slick. Like they always think like you're trying to talk them out of something. So
Yeah,
you
facts,
know,
facts, facts, because
because they
that's
feel
what
like
the
you
people
fast
from the
talking
North
them.
do. Girl, it like God rest my mama's soul. But my mom was like when my mom moved to New York for a while as well. And when we ended up back down here, my mom was like, they would think I was dumb because I was country. And she
Okay.
said she used to get over on all kinds of shit just because they thought she was dumb and she would use it to her advantage. But I always cracked up because I'm like, when you go up north and you looking around, we look kind of naive and shit. Honey, yeah. Uh So they always think we ain't got no good sense. But
You know what? Hey, somebody in the mask said that was trying to insinuate that I'm dumb for wearing 2 masks. Now that was a CDC recommendation, but if you use regular logic, I don't know, but if you use regular logic, if one mask stop, like have been studies. They actually, I watched the video on it. They did studies where they're like literally spraying something on mask to see how effective a mask is against stopping something from penetrating it. The more mask that you have on, the more effective it will be at stopping something from penetrating that mask. That's just simple logic. I mean, hello, y'all too smart for me, too smart for your own dang good. But it was something that I
what? They probably from Mississippi. Never mind.
Listen, you said it. You said it. But listen, I wanted to ask you about something else.
What, girl?
Did you see all these folks getting together to sue T.I. and Tiny?
Baby.
Listen, they said over 30 women. It's the new R. Kelly. They are saying that T.I. and Tiny now. Listen,
Tip mine, baby. Tip Kelly, baby.
They actually are doing a civil, they filed a civil suit against them, and they're saying that they're involving other folks that they said were there, and then Vanelli is supposedly involved, that he was there, and one of the women states that she was forced to have sex with Nelly, and allegedly, this is an allegation, and they filed suit against them, and they're saying that T.I. and Tiny responded to the suit with an offer that 11 of the women rejected. So
maybe they said, I heard the one of the lawyers, I don't know how many lawyers there are, but one of the lawyers said, unless the offer includes an allocution, no thank you. And so I'm like, wow, but they
can't see this coming. Y'all had Tip speaking for the Black community. Y'all had him standing up as a Black leader in the community. Now y'all accusing this man and his wife of running a sex trafficking ring? What in the world is wrong with Black folks? I'm trying to figure it out.
Honey, you know how it is when a person has money. Mm-hmm. We as humans tend to ignore a lot of bad shit because we think a person with money, it equates to smarts, integrity, whatever. A lot of us think because a person looks nice that they're actually nice people, and that's just not the case. With T.I. and Tiny, they did have I think they probably gave a lot of people opportunities. And so when you have people, like I said, when people are able to give you opportunities, they look nice or they're dressed a certain way, we tend to diminish their BS. We tend to diminish it by, like we would treat a bum much worse than we'll treat a person that's dressed nice. And it's literally how a person is dressed, how they look. If a pretty woman could be a tragic, treacherous bitch, but we will still treat her good because she's pretty. And we don't think that pretty people are as capable of doing the same things as ugly people or people that are deemed less attractive. And so, I think it's a thing with human nature. You want to believe that good looking people are good looking, or people with money are good people. But we're finding out that they don't have any morals just like anybody else. So, it's interesting. It's real interesting. Yeah, I'm wondering what's going to come of it. And I'm wondering, are they actually going to end up doing time this time around?
Well, it doesn't, I haven't seen I haven't seen any talk of any kind of criminal complaint. I've seen discussions of, it seems civil. And I'm just going to say this really quickly. I don't believe that because someone tries to, or someone responds to a civil complaint in order to, extend an offer, that it automatically makes one guilty. The in civil court, the bar is much lower. So you just have to have a preponderance of the evidence, or more than 51% of the evidence support an allegation for someone to be deemed as negligent or responsible or whatever have you. But I don't believe that it automatically means that someone is guilty. So, the publicity has been horrible for them. They lost their show. They're kind of, you haven't really heard about them in any of their projects. And they're kind of like, it seems to be like they're laying low. So I think that even if everything was completely unfounded, trying to pay to get it to go away is a tactic that some people employ, and that does not necessarily mean that you're culpable of what you're being alleged to have done.
Yeah. And we live in such a crazy society where people will actually come up with these allegations for clout. So it makes it harder and harder on the victim, especially if these ladies have never allocated when the incidences actually happened, or they were paid off, or some things happened to where they didn't come forward when it happened. And so then you have women who be down for the cause. Now, I'm not saying, and my whole thing is we don't know. Nobody knows. So I'm not going to say those ladies are all lying. I'm definitely not saying that they're telling the truth. I'm saying we don't know because we weren't there. Because you will have some women who will sign up to party. They want a party. Somebody offers them a pill or a drug or whatever, being that it's T.I. and Tiny. A lot of women will probably be, what's the word? Like, I'm not going to necessarily say influence, but you want to be you want to be down with the cool people. You want to be down. So you sit there and you take the drugs with them. They do whatever.
Yeah. And then, have you ever been to like backstage at a concert or anything?
No, not backstage per se. I've been like at parties and have met a couple people, but
like hung out with them in like a private setting, I guess is like my question.
No, not
okay. So I have a couple times.
Well, I will say like not deeply private. Like it was like a bunch of people, and then I'm kind of shy in certain settings. So
okay, so that's hard to believe. You shy, but listen,
what I'm an extroverted introvert. Like I be just wanting to drink and chill and watch. I'm more of a people watcher, and now it depends on if I'm drinking. Now, if I'm drinking, I'm gonna talk shit. I'm gonna be joking. I'm a good time, baby. But yeah, I be chill.
Okay, so I have a couple different times. The time that I want to speak about. Now I'm about to age myself, and don't be in the comments in the chat making comments. But anyways, when I was younger, the Hot Boys. So they had a concert.
I bet juvenile too now.
Listen, me and it was a bunch of my cousins. I have a huge family. So it was me and a bunch of my cousins. Not only did we go backstage, we kicked it at their hotel room. Went, hung out with them. Sitting in the corner, trying to hold the wall up. What you mean? I am extremely shy, so I was
being a hot girl backing that ass on concrete. Let me find out.
Listen, I didn't do any of that. But
wait a minute, is the fiance in the room?
No, he's downstairs, so he can hear
me.
He's
tell us your hot girl story. We listening.
No, he knows about this. I'll talk to him about it.
Tell us the part you ain't tell him. Go ahead.
There was nothing to tell, like literally. But I can tell you that everybody that was there knew what they were there for. Like we also ended up getting a room because it was my sister, and I had like 5-6 cousins that was there. And one of my cousins was talking to Lil Wayne. One was talking to this person. One was talking to it was like a joint concert. And even like the band members, their road managers, they all had groupies. And like we were sitting in the hotel lobby for a bit, and we kind of did a takeover of the lobby and hanging out, and then we went to the room. But everybody that was there knew like what it was, and they knew kind of like there was this expectation. Actually, my cousin who was talking to Lil Wayne at the time, it was 3 other girls in the room, and he immediately said, like, if you ain't about it, then you have, he was requesting for you to leave, and she left. So everybody, when you go into these situations, you know what the expectation is. That does not mean that you're automatically, when you walk in, consenting. I'm not saying that, but there is an expectation that you're going to get down, and a lot of the women are consenting to that. Yeah, exactly. I was not a groupie. Oh my God, I can't stand these people.
Could you know they was going?
No.
You know they was going.
This is why I don't tell my business. This is why I don't tell y'all my business. This is
Concrete, you got when we get offline, you gonna tell me the rest of the story.
You know what? I'm done. Okay. That's all I wanted to say as it relates to that. Lord have mercy. Y'all painting a false narrative. Go ahead.
I met Juvenile back in the day. Juvie was actually pretty cool. Now, it was a club setting, and they had a patio on the outside. Now, this is the funniest shit. So, I'm sitting on the patio just catching, some air, because I like to sit outside. We in the country. So, we got the inside of the club, and then we got the patios outside. And I'm just sitting there sipping my Hennessy at the time. And I look up, and I see Juvenile, and I'm like, oh my God, it's Juvenile. So I'm like, hey, I go up to him, and his security was like, hold up. And I'm like, I'm looking at his security like, really, dude? And he was like, oh, it's all good. So I went over there. He was cool. We talked for a brief second, and I went on, but he was cool.
Now, if he would have said, do you want to come meet me at my room? I'll be there at 11 p.m., me and some of the guys. And you went. But if you would have consented, you would have known what it was about.
Yeah. I mean, if they're talking about hotel action and everybody coming back to the hotel, and we're in a day and age where Freaknik had already passed by.
Oh, yes.
You got me Black Bike Week. What they be doing down College Week in Florida? What they call it?
Oh my gosh! Yeah, they even got the Crush Groove in Savannah. What is it? Orange Crush in Savannah. Everything. Y'all don't know what it's like to have a good time outside. This generation, y'all missed out. That's all I would say. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, thank God for social media, because baby, and I think social media probably cut a lot of it out. Because if we had social media back then, honey. But anyway, let's take a little detour. Did you see Coming to America 2?
I did.
What did you think?
I thought that it was okay. I think that it's getting I don't agree with the reviews. I didn't have high expectations for it. For me, it was I did not at all. It was more of a nostalgic movie. I think that the storyline was a little juvenile, but I love the fact that he brought back all of, most of the talent from the original movie, that it was James Earl Jones, probably, his last hurrah. I enjoyed the nostalgia of it, but I didn't have high expectations as it relates to the storyline. I thought it was decent.
I actually had higher expectations of it because this was a classic. And I say, when you start to do a classic, when you make a sequel to a classic and then you take as long to make the sequel to the classic, then I just gave birth my 4th. And March 4th, Just Me and Jazzy, congratulations. She just gave birth.
Oh, congrats.
Just Me and Jazzy, like the soft voice, Just Me and
she said her water broke in her car and she was rushed to the hospital from the job. Congratulations, mama.
Girl, I would have never gave Just Me and Jazzy a baby, honey. Because she came on the panel and she was like, oh yeah, everything is so nice and and
yeah, she was super soft.
So I'm like, Jazzy, you out here? Oh, Jazzy. But anywho,
Jazzy was dropping it. Go ahead. In the quarantine will get you, baby. Go ahead,
baby. Quarantine babies. Ow.
Yes.
But congratulations to you. Big congratulations to you. Yeah, dope. But yeah, so with the movie, I had higher expectations because I'm thinking that it's a sequel. Y'all waited damn near 30 years to produce this sequel. Baby, if what in the empire hell was going on? Why was they rapping it? I'm like, why is it so much music in here? What are y'all doing? They
There
rapping,
was a
they
lot of
dancing
music in the
over.
first one.
No, baby, wasn't nobody over there rapping and singing in like now if they had the fat man that was that song She's Your Queen, I'm cool with him singing. Cause I'm
They
like,
had
yeah,
him. They had Randy Watson, Sexual Chocolate. Was
baby,
they
I'm
had
gonna tell
Peaches
you.
and Herb? I mean Peaches and Cream, who was rapping at the end. They had quite a few musical talents in there.
Baby, I was over it. Over it. Me and Curlin watched it for about a good hour. And I was like, if they sing one more damn song, I'm out. I'm gonna tell you where we cut it off at. So Tiana Taylor came in and she sung she was lip singing the Prince song, and I'm like, she the princess, but she's singing, and I was
Ah,
confused by that. When Homeboy started rapping, I said, bro, we got to go. We ain't got to do this. We ain't got to do it. So we turned this shit
edges
off.
are just too analytical. I mean, I thought that it was. I preferred watching that over any of those Tyler Perry movies. That I mean, it's not like a lot
Baby,
to
I would
watch.
have
I
watched the
enjoyed it.
Tyler
Oh
Perry
no.
movie.
But you
Simple
will watch Meet the
Shelter.
Browns. You will watch Meet the Browns, but you had a problem with Coming to America too.
Facts. All
Wow.
facts. And don't put Meet the Browns off on me like that, because no. But I
You
sat
wrong,
there, I was
sis.
like, bro, when bruh started rapping, and I'm like, why is he rapping? Like, what, how did he know the word? Like, how he just freestyling
Child,
over here?
I was singing along right with him. I was rapping Peaches and Cream, rapping.
Baby, I'm gonna
I
tell
was in
you
my
who
element. I
kind of
enjoyed
killed
it.
me. When they bought Gladys Knight and then Salt and Pepper, I was like, why?
Yes, it was
Oh,
more singing and more. I felt like it was nostalgic though because he was bringing out all the greats. He had everyone, like most of the people who played in the original Coming to America.
did you see
He
Salt and
had
Pepper in the
Gladys, Salt and
original?
Pepper. I like Tiana Taylor. I was like, yes. He even had Rotimi in there. I liked it.
Baby, when Salt and Pepper came out and looked like the wall had beat the brakes off their ass, I was like,
You need to
bruh.
quit. Salt and Pepper 50 plus. Come on now, give him grace.
Yeah, that's why they need to do it.
You
Like,
need to
bruh,
stop.
let it go.
You need to
Let it
quit.
go. I was like,
Mm-mm-mm.
man, they look terrible. But anywho,
Yeah,
honey, let me
I saw
tell
I
you
got
about
mixed
my
reviews, but go
yeah,
ahead.
I'm gonna tell you about my date with Curlin over the weekend, and then we can hop off into this topic. Oh, no. Skip the date. Skip the date. I did want to hit on something um that's kind of serious, that's real deep. There was a guy that was considered black pill MGTOW that committed suicide over this weekend. Um
Rest in peace to him.
Rest in peace. His name was Renegade number 1. Rest in peace to him. Um this is a crazy space. Um but not just the space, but people living life, and I'm not going to necessarily say hopelessness, because I think black pill does fall under a certain type of ideology, but it's deep, and it's like when you fall under a certain type of ideology, I don't really know what to say, because I can't tell you to hope for anything. I can't tell you you have this, that, and the third to live for, especially with human beings being the way we are. Um, but I kind of feel like um I don't know. I have a lot of mixed feelings about it. I just feel like it's a lot. It's a lot. And I don't know what to tell people in certain instances about taking their life. But um y'all ever need to talk, you know, I'm here. And it was just really, really deep for me because you hate to hear a person taking their own life, or they don't feel like they have anything to live for, and Black Pill is about not having hope and accepting life at its reality and what it is. But
Is it? I thought that it was literally just accepting reality for what it is, like the ultimate kind of pill as it relates to just accepting reality and the truth for what it is.
yeah, it is. But
See,
this
I
is
feel
the
like you
thing.
don't have to be hopeless in that. I mean, rest in peace to him, but reality is like kind of, I think people practice cognitive dissonance because reality can be depressing. When you face the reality
Yeah,
of what we are dealing with in this life and what we're up against as it relates to our government, as it relates to relationships with one another, like it can be depressing. It's heavy.
it can be depressing, but I guess this is one of the things that confuses me about Black Pill. I think you're going to go through happiness and sad. I don't think life is one dimensional for anybody. I don't think anybody lives a totally happy life. I don't think anybody lives a totally sad
Yeah,
life unless you are making certain choices to do so. You make
balance
a
is important.
happiness is a choice, sadness is a choice. Um, I don't know. Like I said, it's one of those things where I really have a lot of confliction. It's real conflicting inside of me because I'm like, okay, if you're accepting that people are going to be people, then you accept that people do have some messed up ways, but you do also accept that people have some good ways about them as well. But that's how I look at it. I think a human is going to be a human. I don't think anybody is perfect. And so I don't put all of my expectations into people being human. Like, people are gonna fuck up. Nobody's going to be perfect in this life. You will get let down. It happens. But what do you do after that happens? What steps do you take after that happens? What do you do to get over things when people uh mess you over? I
I,
probably have had the expectation that people will probably fuck me over before they help me. And I'm a person that's gotten a lot from people. People have been nice to me. People have been good to me, but some people have been messed up to me too. Life goes on.
yeah.
So,
I just want to say that, yeah, I think that life is tough, like, especially for Black men, especially for Black people. Like, we are the trauma that we deal with that goes, that goes unchecked, that, we don't seek help for, that, because it's taboo to, talk to a counselor, to seek help, especially for men. It's hard. Let me tell you something. The rate in which Black men are committing suicide is escalating, and it's
honey,
because I feel like they don't have a safe haven. But I think that it relates back to how we are raising young boys to, feel as though it's weak to express yourself, to not talk about their emotions. There's a lot of shaming in our community as it relates to men opening up and saying, I need help, I'm depressed. But what I want to do is just challenge the Black men in this space. Like, I mean, I know this ain't the cool thing to do, but if you, because I saw someone say that his content was depressing. If you, especially if, we're kind of familiar with each other, we've been doing this for years, and some of you have been in this space far longer than I have. If you notice that someone sounds depressing, if there's a change in, their behavior, like, reach out behind the scenes just as one brother to another, letting them know, hey, bro, I'm just checking on you. I'm here to talk if you need to. And like, reach out to one another and just kind of let people know that if they need a shoulder to lean on, that you're willing to be there for them. That's important. And, we don't, I feel like there's not enough of that in the Black community.
absolutely, absolutely. Shout out to Bap. Hey, Bap. She says, "Good morning, Sister George and Concrete. Thank you so much for the super chat."
Thank you, Boo.
Shout out to Gabe A. He says, "Many people in this space revel in the negative aspects of life while dismissing all the positives as rarities. I think it becomes a slippery slope when the negatives are amplified. Gabe A, that is
Yeah.
spot on. Thank you so much for that super chat. And I did want to read a comment from Ed. He says, look at them pretend to care, laughing my ass off. And this
I
is
think
the
that's kind of
thing.
crass. Like that's
No,
I think
no.
that's that,
I think it's a real
I'm
thing.
offended though.
But
Go
no,
ahead.
I'm going to tell you what's real about it. So we all come here and we what do you call it? We congregate here. A lot of us are in this space daily. A lot of us talk daily, whether it's in chat rooms, behind the scenes, what have you. A lot of us communicate with each other in this space. When I leave here, when I leave off of YouTube and I have real life to deal with, I have a child to deal with, I have work to deal with, I have family and friends on the outside of this space I deal with. Half the time I don't think about you guys. And I'm not saying this to be a bitch. I'm not saying it to be funny. I'm saying that I have life to deal with outside of YouTube. As I continue to establish bonds with people, I do think about people that I've established bonds with when I do leave YouTube. I don't think about YouTube as a collective, but individuals that I have established bonds with, yeah, I do care what happens to you. If you
Mhm.
get sick, I am concerned if you're getting well or if you're feeling better. Now, certain things don't really require certain bonds are not going to be as deep as like with people that you've grown up with and friendships that you've established over a lifetime, but
Mhm.
there's enough bonds that's been established for me to think about you. If something does happen to you, yeah, I care if something fucked up happens to you. Yeah, I do.
Well,
Um, and I feel like it makes me vulnerable because I do put a lot into that. I do care about what people think. I do care about how people feel. I don't try to just go off on people when I'm mean or bitchy and hateful to
yeah.
people. So yeah, I do care. And
Well, let
that's
me
not
say this
pretending to care,
because
but it's just real life happens. So that's where I'm at with that.
I think that that's extremely offensive. Like, I get that some of y'all are so pessimistic and you've never had a black woman give a damn about y'all, but I'm not that black woman. I care about black men. I care about black people in general. If I can watch a black man be murdered and shed tears, then I don't have to prove anything to you as it relates to how my heart operates. I don't want anything harmful to happen to any black man. I don't want to hear about any black man committing suicide. Absolutely, I care. Absolutely, I think that there's more that should be done. Absolutely, if it was a person that I had established a relationship with or had a bond with, I would reach out if I see a change in their behavior. And I'm requesting of you all to do that. I can say the same thing for you. Maybe you just don't care, so it's hard for you to believe that we would.
Um, can you read that super chat? I'm sorry.
Absolutely. Thank you, Taz. He says, Gabe, what about when negatives are ignored? Black men should amplify the toxicity that makes us all look bad, not just your buddies. Thank you, Taz. And that's definitely a great point and great question posed. Eisen Sama says, the thing to accept about reality is that everyone can't be saved. There are people that shatter when introduced to stress. It's always been so. I agree with you 110%, Eisen. I don't believe that everyone can be saved, but I don't think that that should stop us from trying. I do think that we should still reach out. We should still attempt to check on our brothers and sisters. I do think that we should still care about what happens to one another. That's that individualistic mindset that is pervasive in this space. Like, you don't care about anybody but you and your family and what you have going on. And that's the problem with Black people today. Like, that's why we're so divided as a people. It's extremely sad to me and bothersome that people think like this. Like, oh my gosh, it bothers me. But anyways, I feel like this has. I don't want this to impact our stream and what we want to talk about. So I want to say something lighter before we get off into the topic. Woo, woosah. I wanted
Okay.
to say something really like I meant to say something before about. I just want to take it back for just a second about coming to America. So I saw like so many reviews, and I saw quite a few reviews from people who are of African, well, people that are African, and they were offended because they said that the storyline was offensive to Africans because it makes Africa look as if like it's a jungle, and like not. I guess it paints a false narrative of Africa, which I found to be interesting. Like, it's a fictional story. In addition, I guess because I see so many depictions or false narratives of how Black Americans are, and our personalities are being over exaggerated in movies, that I've become numb to it. But I also just wanted to add one little thing. Most of us, when we watch Coming to America in the 80s, we were young children. Now, as adults, we're analyzing it from the lens of an adult. I don't think that much has changed from the storyline. It was still kind of maybe a little bit corny, if you will, back then, but we were watching it as kids, so we didn't see it as corny. And I think that's why so many of us are overly critical about it. But I thought it was entertaining for what it was. I guess I'll say that. And that's all.
Yeah. Shout out to Melody. She says, like the stream. Thank you so much, Melody. And shout out to Star Willie for the Cash App. Thank you so much. She says for blessings.
Thanks,
and shout out to Kit Clouds. Thank you, friend. He says for the afternoon. Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys. Let's get off into this topic. So, the topic is she aborted my baby. Concrete and I sat around trying to come up with something this weekend. We kind of went through an assortment of topics, but we kind of got to this one, and she had mentioned that she was on Clubhouse one day, and men were talking about how they were affected by women actually aborting their babies. Mm-hmm. And I'm sitting there like, what would make somebody abort your baby? And it was just one of those things, like, it's just deep. Of course, they say abortions it's 1,800 abortions a day performed. I think most of that is put on Black people, Black women. And,
mm-hmm.
It's deep. It's real deep. I kind of wrote some stuff down because I was sitting there thinking, like, what would make somebody abort your baby? What would make a woman
really quickly before we dive off into the topic? Just kind of give a little bit of background as it relates to the conversation that Danny was just referring to. So I did partake in a panel discussion with some men. There were several men and several women on the panel. 4 of the men had women that they were dating that had abortions. And they all were impacted in various ways. 2 of the men were impacted on such a great scale that they still remembered the date. They recounted in vivid detail what occurred. They were emotionally impacted. And these were masculine men. They were hurt by the fact that the women, like one of them, they weren't together in a relationship with the woman, but they didn't have children, and things had just went sour, and they still wanted her to keep the baby. The other guy was in a relationship with the woman, and those 2 men till this day, and one was like 13 years ago, one was like 9 years ago, still have not had children. So they really feel like it was a real loss to them. And just to hear men be so open, so candid about that experience, like, was kind of eye-opening to me, because I had not, I mean, of course I know that men are impacted, but I didn't know that they're impacted on such a grand scale, that 10 years later that they're still reeling from the emotional effects of a woman aborting their children, their babies, against their own requests. So it was just, wow, it was just very eye-opening to me. And I just wanted to kind of give that background before we get off into it. But I'm sorry, Danny, what was your next point?
What reasons do you think a woman would abort a man's child? What are some reasons that you think a woman would abort a man's child?
That's a good question. I think that women will abort a man's child because the relationship is not what they desire. Maybe the relationship isn't where they want it to be. I think that a woman would also do that if she's on a certain trajectory and it does not align, having a baby at that moment doesn't align with what she sees for her life. I think that women will also abort a child if they already have children, or if they've seen their mothers struggle as single mothers or struggle with children. And I think that some women just will abort a baby because they look at abortion as a method of birth control.
I think those are some of the reasons that I came up with too. Um, I also came up with she cheated on you. If a woman cheats and she doesn't know who the child's
Good
father
point.
is, she will, there's a possibility that she'll do that. Um, Selfishness. Some women just don't, I'm not going to say it's selfish that she doesn't want a child, but uh if she's not telling you that she's actually going to abort your child, then I do think that's a form of selfishness.
Isn't it selfish too, though, even if she just doesn't want a child? Because if you didn't want a child, you had 4 or 5 different ways to protect yourself from getting to the point that you have to go and abort a fetus or a baby, depending upon, what you believe.
I actually think that you do have some women who don't actually like birth control. I find it interesting. A lot of men try to tell us about birth control, but a lot of you guys don't know how it affects certain women. Um, I
Yes, I agree.
I I do think some forms of birth control adds to the infertility of Black women in
Hmm.
particular. Um,
But what about a morning after pill or spermicide?
Now,
Condoms.
I do think those are effective forms of birth control. I do. But some people are just in the moment and don't care. I've
I agree.
Yeah, I think that some are just in the moment and don't care. Um, a woman may not think you're worth having a child with. She may not think you're worth shit.
Ooh, you worth laying with, having the most intimate moments, but you ain't worth me carrying your baby. And
No, you
that's
you
a good.
putting too much on that. This is
Okay,
a
so
penis. This is a penis inside of a vagina. There's no emotions to that. There is
that
no
is still
heart
the
given
most
to that.
intimate action that you can engage in with a person.
You would think concrete. You would think, but we're in such a generation to where everybody wants to ignore their emotions. Nobody wants to feel anything but the physical act of sex. Sex isn't
Hmm.
spiritual anymore. It's literally a penis inside of a vagina. It's a good
Yeah,
feeling
I
at the
agree.
moment. When
But you know what?
orgasms are had, everybody gets up, everybody goes home, everybody goes their own way. That's all it is.
I agree, but I think that like that's not really subjective. That's a factual thing. That's one of the most intimate things that two humans can do. But I understand your point. And another thing is like pregnancy and child labor can end in death. Like there's a fairly high rate of Black women dying while during labor. So literally, you are putting your life at risk by carrying this child and seeing your pregnancy to fruition and going through labor. So that's another point too. It's a risk.
Just to shut out Darth Slothius, he said sex is still spiritual, but people just ignore it.
Mhm.
When you have hundreds of men going through your body, when you are
Oh,
going through hundreds of women, it stops becoming spiritual in a certain sense, because you're not really looking at it as a spiritual aspect. You're looking to cover up some other shit. You're
Yeah,
not
that's
dealing with
trauma.
some other shit.
Yeah.
When you're allowing that many people inside of your body, and feminists, y'all can come on with it because I'm with the shits today. Or people that's freely giving up their body, don't care. Like I said, it's just a physical act. When it comes down to being so many people, it stops being spiritual, in my opinion.
I think
I
you bring
I, I,
about a good point, but I do think that there's some hidden trauma in anyone that could just have sex
yeah,
with hundreds of partners willy nilly. Like there is a spiritual exchange. There are soul deposits that are made when you're being that intimate with someone. And if you can't acknowledge that, or if you are, I would question, like, you are probably using this to cover up, just like people do something called cutting. I think that people use sex to distract from, other trauma, to keep their mind off of, other things that may be going. So they use it as a coping mechanism. So yeah, that's a good point, Danny.
yeah. So I think we've covered everything as to why a woman would. Somebody mentioned a good one that I didn't think about, and that was revenge. Revenge
Ooh.
is a good one.
Oh yes.
Um, a woman can be pregnant with your child if you did something to her. That could cause, I'm not going to say that could cause her to have an abortion, but a woman could be that vengeful and not
Mhm.
want to keep your baby because she knows that that baby will make you happy, or that
Yeah.
baby would actually benefit you to a certain degree. Um,
Mhm.
so
One of the men on
revenge
the
is a good
panels
one.
One of the men on the panel said that a woman that he was dating knew that he was against abortion, and she had an abortion behind his back, and he later found out about it. So, not to pay him back, but I guess she was just in a space where she didn't want children at the time, and she had, and that's not uncommon. Like, I think that that's so hurtful. And as women, we don't take into consideration how that could impact the man. And I would never, ever, ever do something like that. You didn't even give the man you didn't even have the decency to give the man a conversation and let him know, hey, this is what it is. I'm not keeping this baby. That's just deplorable to me.
Now, Curlin and I had a really, really deep discussion about this. And he did give me permission to kind of put I ain't gonna say his little business out there, but to kind of put his business out there just a smidge. He was dealing with a chick, and the chick had an abortion behind his back. He found out about it. But he was saying that the chick said she didn't want kids initially. When they first got into the relationship, she said she didn't want kids.
Mhm.
She had no intention on having kids. So she went and got the abortion behind his back, and he felt like that was selfish. And I was kind of conflicted on that because I'm like, well, if she already told you she didn't want kids, and you kind of have like an idea. I didn't tell him this part, but I was thinking, like, you kind of have an idea of who you're dealing with to a certain degree. So if a person says they don't want kids, um we all kind of think that a natural plight of a woman is to have kids, get married.
Mhm.
We Most of us think that that should be the natural plight of a woman. We think that's what makes her a woman, is kids and marriage. A lot of us. But if she told you that she didn't want kids, period, and then y'all mess around, y'all have a slip up, and she gets pregnant and she goes and aborts the a baby, then was she really being selfish, or what do you think about that?
Absolutely. She sure
Okay.
was. You didn't have a conversation with the man. You're the one who don't want kids. Just like we tell men when they say they don't want kids that they should strap up. As the woman who doesn't want kids, you should be ensuring that some sort of protection method is in place.
No, it
And
wasn't a
then
protection method, but it broke.
Okay, so you didn't have a conversation with this person. I think that that's extremely selfish. Like, if because being that you had already had a conversation and told the man that you did not want children, like, the least you could do is let him know, hey, I'm pregnant, but as we discussed previously, I don't want children, so I'm going to have an abortion. However, just to reverse the tables, I have a very good friend who I love. She's my boo. And she was in a similar situation where her partner didn't want children. She didn't think that she could have kids, and she got pregnant, and he wanted her to have an abortion, and she flat out refused. And yeah,
Mm.
it's been a roller coaster ride ever since. So, men don't have an option when they say, hey, even if they say going in, I don't want the child. And, the woman is like, okay, well, no worries because I can't get pregnant or I'm on birth control or whatever. And something happens and there's a slip up and the woman becomes pregnant. Their say doesn't matter. You don't have um, I have full authority as it relates to how I'm going to handle this situation. And you just have to deal with it.
Yeah, her body, her choice.
Mhm.
It becomes really, really shaky, especially if the man wants children.
Mhm.
Because you do have fathers who are willing to step up, or men that are willing to step up to the plate. But now let's go on the other side of that.
Mhm. You want to read
Um,
the super chat first before we move
yeah.
the conversation forward?
Shout out to Melody. She says, I know someone who got one because she said she was too young and her parents made
Oh,
her. Okay.
I think that's a little
Yeah,
different.
I actually had that written down too. You do have some women who would get an abortion because
Yeah.
of their parents made them, and
Mhm.
also health risk. Like, let's say the child
Yeah.
has a chance of retardation or disabilities, or the woman may be at risk of dying. Those are probably very few cases, but I've definitely heard of that before.
Yes, those are some options, and that's why I'm not completely opposed to abortion. I think that it should be an option, and sometimes it is medically necessary. There are some extenuating circumstances, where a woman was sexually assaulted, and
Right.
as a result, like there are some circumstances where that they need to have that option. Women need to have that as an option. So, but I'm sorry. What was? Oh, we got one more from D. He says, "This is a part of the thought culture that is promoted to us Black people in the West." Oh, okay. I think
You
that it
know
is
what?
promoted to us because just like you see cigarette ads and billboards for liquor and stuff in the Black community, you see a ton of Planned Parenthood ads. You see them if you're riding the bus. They're on the sides of the bus, or that is this is something that's pushed towards Black people. And we've had like several Black different delegations that have reviewed the large influx of like abortion clinics and things like that seem to target Black people, and in an effort to see if there is like some sort of remedy or if a lawsuit can be filed, because there have been lawsuits in the past where the government deemed that maybe cigarette companies were targeting children because they use like a cartoon camel to in their cigarette ads. So there are different organizations that are looking at the fact that abortion seems to be something that's pushed to Black people, um,
Yeah.
in an effort to see if there's some sort of remedy.
Yeah. So I wrote down that private abortions are a thing. Um
Very true.
they're a thing, and their statistics won't be counted because
Yep.
it's private. So
Yep.
that's also a class issue. Higher class people will go to a private physician, have an
Absolutely.
abortion, and nobody knows, none the wiser.
Yep.
So I do think that's a thing. Um, Shout out to Cichlid. He said, let's keep it 100. Many women have multiple abortions in their lifetime. So
That's interesting. Go ahead,
I,
Danny. You
I,
go
I,
first, and I'll
I
come behind you.
yeah. So I wanted to talk about, what do you think the men feel after a woman aborts a baby
Um,
that he produced? or may or may
Well,
not have produced.
and
But
I
he was
want
a
to go
cancer
back to
producer.
Sigley's comment after we finish this topic, but this specific question. But I think that it depends upon the man. I think some men are like breathing a sigh of relief, like, whew, yes, dodge one. And I think that there are some men that are emotionally impacted. I think that some men, there may be some indifference. Some men have resigned to the fact that it is the woman's choice. So whatever she wants to do, I'm just going to go with it. So I think that the opinions or the feelings vary from man to man.
I think that I do agree that a lot of them feel relief. I
Mm-hmm.
think that a lot of them don't care. I think that a lot of them didn't want to be fathers with a woman where it was a hookup. It was just a hookup.
Yeah.
They didn't want to be attached to a woman for 18 years. I
Mm-hmm.
think that some like some wouldn't have shirked their responsibilities even if it was a hookup. Some
Mm-hmm.
guys still actually wanted the baby and would have had the baby and would have taken care of the child.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of guys don't want to pay child support. And so that brings me to a bigger issue because we promote a pump and dump society, but we're also um, mad that it's 1,800 abortions a day. And I
Mm-hmm.
be wanting people to kind of explain like the logic in, do you want the babies or do you not want the babies? Do you want the child support or do you not? Because men, even a man could get you pregnant, but men are pushing this to other men. You don't have to marry her because you got her pregnant. And
Well,
I've heard that quite a few times.
yeah, I think that's like an older premise. I think maybe the 50s, 60s, maybe the 50s and 60s that there was a notion that hey, because she's pregnant, I have to do the right thing and marry her. But I do think that we can't ignore the fact that a lot of men are the ones that are pushing the notion that the woman should abort the child. There are some men that just aren't ready, that especially in those casual relationships. I think that there are a lot of men that are like, nah, this ain't what I signed up for. I was just down for a good time. So I do think that we talked about the reasons that women abort children or babies, but we didn't highlight the fact that some of them abort the baby because of the man not wanting to keep the child, or the man may say, yeah, I prefer that you get an abortion. So that is a factor as well.
Absolutely. Staying disciplined 145 said, I don't want the responsibility or my freedom suffocated with kids. So
Mm.
Concrete just kind of covered that. So I do think that's a good point. Shout out to Melody. She said some women lie for abortion money.
Melody, don't be
They-
telling our secrets now. No, I'm
oh,
just
that ain't
joking.
my secret.
I'm joking. I would never, ever, 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 ever. It's a joke. But
Gotcha.
yeah, I do think that sometimes I think that sometimes women do use that as a financial motive to get a few dollars out of a guy. But I want to know this. So I know that, my body, my choice. I know the whole rhetoric surrounding that. And, it is the woman's body. And, she's the one that has to carry the child for 9 months and go through hard labor. But I want to know what you think about that statement as it relates to a woman inside of a marriage. Is it still strictly her choice? If she's married. I mean, I know technically it is, but like, should there be some consideration given to the husband? Is that something that you two make in the confines of the marriage together as a couple? What are your thoughts?
My thoughts are I do think it is her body, her choice, technically it is her body, her choice. I think conversations need to be had before you actually walk down the aisle. Like it needs to be had before you walk down the aisle. Actually, it needs to be had before you actually have sex. So, I don't think it's her body, her choice necessarily when she is married. Marriage is supposed to be a union between two people, and that two people are supposed to become one. They're supposed to move as a unit. If she does get pregnant, then she is supposed to consult with her husband. I've heard of people actually having abortions within a marriage to where they weren't ready for kids right then. But most people I know that have had abortions have been really, really regretful. Um, Kind of
That's
want to get
another
off
good
into
point.
that. I did drop the link in the chat just in case you guys want to come up. So because we've been talking for a minute, honey, we got off into it. But
Yes, we have been. So yes, definitely come and join us. But I'm going to let you say what you were going to say, and then I want to say one quick thing before we allow the panelists to speak. But go ahead, Danny.
yeah, I was just saying that if she has a husband, then it is definitely within her husband's right to make that decision with her. Like I said, it's not her body, her choice when you are in the confines of a marriage, but that also depends on what type of vows you take as an individual couple. So, I think that those things really do play a big factor in that. But hood conservative, what's going on, brother? What are your thoughts on
Hold
the
on, really
topic?
quickly. I want to say
Oh, I'm
something really
sorry.
quick before it starts. I'm sorry. I just wanted to highlight one thing that I often see talked about in this space. So please mute your mic when you join the panel. Thank you. I wanted to say that I know that abortion is a problem within the Black communities. We know that over 20 million fetuses have been aborted by Black women. However, I do want to highlight the fact that abortions across our country has declined. The study that was in 2011 indicated that Black women accounted for 36% of abortions, or just over 36%. Okay, and this is according to the American Journal of Public Health. The last study that I could find was in 2014, which showed that there was a 10%, almost 10% decline, where Black women accounted for 27% of abortions, which is still one third, and it is still extremely high because we only account for 6% of the population, or a little bit over that. So I definitely still think that it's a problem. I'm not making light of the situation, but I do want to highlight the fact that abortions are on the decline. I also saw an interesting point being made in my research relating to, and I've heard this point being made in this space too, where men say that, do Black lives really matter? Because if they did, Black women would not be aborting Black babies. I want to know if we feel as though that is a part of, especially because I pointed out during our last stream about Margaret Sanger, are Black women participating in eugenics or genocide by having these massive amounts of abortions that are being done every day across our country, and what your thoughts are on the fact that if Black lives really mattered, that Black women would not be having as many abortions as they do. We'll
Excellent
start
question.
with yeah. And did you want to answer before Hood Conservative, or just let him go?
Actually, I do. I do think that it's a big thing because people are having these abortions like they're going to the store, and I don't think it means a whole lot. I do think that when you say Black Lives Matter, and if people are really taking that serious, then the abortion thing wouldn't be so bad. But then there are a lot of reasons that are pushed. You don't want to become a single mother. You don't want to have a baby with a bum. He's got multiple baby mamas. You have your career to worry about. Ain't nobody gonna take care of you. When I was pregnant with my son, my mom, and it took me a while to grasp the lesson, but my mom kept telling me, that's your baby. Y'all are not married, so that's your baby. If something goes wrong, you ain't gonna be able to call him, or if you call him and he doesn't come, you're still going to have to woman up to those responsibilities because you chose to have this child. So that's my answer for it. But hood conservative, what are your thoughts?
That sentence right there says it all, especially in a conversation about abortion. And as men, I think we need to take a lot more from what these women just presented to us. And I've heard this several times from women I know personally, women I actually like and don't care to slander, but they've said this out of their own mouths. My mama told me, one, that is my baby, and then two, I need to be able to live without a man. So that programming, that little bit of programming right away explains a lot about the state of, dysfunctional relationships in Black community. And I think it absolves Black men in a lot of ways, just in acknowledging that you were told to be this way before you had an opportunity to even consider it, as far as like the ideas you had about how to approach family or how to deal with, your Black male counterpart. And so I think Black men do need to, like, we do deserve a little bit of credit, because it's not all of us. We're not all the worst of the worst that, seems to be the stereotypical Black male story. But also with that whole thing, if the baby really belongs to you, right, and it belongs to you to such an extent that you can kill it at will, you can abandon the child at will, a living, breathing child you can abandon at will, no prosecution, you will be portrayed as a victim if you decide to just give up your living baby, drop it off at a church or a fire station or something like that. You will be assumed to be a struggling woman who just desperately needed help, and this was the best she could do, is to give her baby up, right? No man will ever be granted that moral courtesy. No man who can't afford child support will ever be granted this moral courtesy. So with all this being true, my question is to ask, what is really man's fault at this point? What can possibly be a man's fault?
Well, I will say this. Now, I was told this after the relationship had dissolved. Not that we were being a family, and I was told that was my baby. After the relationship was dissolved, then it was told, hey, because I kept calling him and, hey, I need this, and he'll tell me he was going to do something and then he wouldn't do it. And so I'm calling and calling and calling and acting a fool. When I say I showed my ass, I showed my ass. And my mama pulled me to the side. Look, ain't no sense in you showing your ass. You knew what you was doing when you got down and you laid down to have the baby. But a man does have the option. The man does have the option to walk away if that man is not married to you. A man chooses to be obligated. A man chooses to obey his responsibilities. A man gets to choose that. If you are choosing to deal with saying you're choosing to keep your child, you're choosing to raise your child on your own, then you need to choose all the responsibilities that come along with having a child. So what I will say that men are responsible for, because women don't make babies by themselves. Listen again, women don't make babies by themselves. It does take two. So if you are choosing to have, sure,
just that babies by themselves thing, that is a false point. It's a false point totally, because of a reason you both acknowledge that once pregnancy occurs, the man has no options and the woman has all of the options, to the extent she can kill the baby.
She can kill the baby.
By your right to do that, he is absolved of any blame.
No, but in our system, he may be absolved of blame, but he still has a responsibility, despite the fact that the woman gets to make the ultimate decision.
And I'm not going to necessarily say that that's a fair choice, because if a man chooses to say that he doesn't want a baby and the woman goes forward and has the baby, then that does it. To me, I feel like that
she
should
now has the right to punish that man. If he says he doesn't want the baby and she keeps the baby, she has the right to extract punishment now. So no matter where you go, she has all the options and all the benefits. So my whole point is, like, where is the man actually responsible for anything?
Well, I'm going to say where the man is responsible, the man is mostly responsible at the point of conception. Mm-hmm. If you are choosing to nut up in this woman, I don't care if she told you she was on 50 forms of fucking birth control. I don't care if she told you she was sterile as a needle. Mm-hmm. At the point of conception, if you are choosing to ejaculate inside of a woman, we are all grown adults. We know what happens when you ejaculate inside of a woman. There is a possibility of pregnancy. So that part he can't be absolved from. Now,
especially being that he's doing it with the understanding that the system is lopsided.
Wait a minute. He just gave you a gift that could possibly change your life for the better.
It's the gift that
Wait,
keeps on
wait,
giving
wait,
us.
wait, wait. Let's
I'm
get
no. Well,
into
let's no.
that.
Let's
Let's
keep
get
it a
into
buck.
that, hood
Let's keep it
service.
a buck. Let's keep it a
Let's get
buck.
into that.
For
Let's get
certain
into that.
amount of people, for a certain class of people, men and women, the fact that that baby is present presents financial advantages to her and financial disadvantages to him. He just
So
gave you a
let's talk
gift.
about it. Rich men's babies don't get aborted, baby.
Are you
Right?
That's a
serious,
gift. The
bro?
gift that keeps on
How
giving,
is
right?
Okay, so
Concrete.
How is that a
if
gift though? Because you feel like there's a financial advantage. Like most black men aren't paying, $1,500 or $2,500 in child support. The
No.
amount of child support, if you're paying $300, that's not like a gift. That's going towards the fact that now I have an extra bill, or several extra bills that I have to pay per month because I now have a
Let
child to
me
provide for.
let me add some reality to that though. And all right, so that class, now we're dealing with, average and poor people, right? When you're down at that class, that baby is the key to unlock so many government services.
Yeah, but I don't think the majority of black women are on welfare. As a matter of fact, it's not the majority of black
I'm
women.
only talking about them on welfare. I'm specifically talking about a class of people
But
though.
even those that are on welfare has a end date. Like you can only be on welfare for like 5 years or something, 5 years or 3 years or something like that. So I don't think that people. I really, really, really detest the
So
point that there are people that the belief or the notion that there are people who are getting pregnant because they feel like that there's some financial benefit that they can take advantage of. The
well,
financial
wait a minute.
benefit wouldn't even be beneficial enough for you to want to bring forth life and
Well,
another mouth to feed.
though that's not your math. Where you are, that math makes no sense. But if you were a little bit lower to the bottom, that math would make perfect sense. And also, if you can acknowledge the fact that women are willing to use abortion as birth control, why can't we also acknowledge the fact that women use birth as a hustle?
Some women do use birth as a hustle.
Thank
I
you.
don't think we're
I'm not pulling
denying
it out of
that.
nowhere.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't think it's
I
coming
think
out of nowhere. But but
like
but but
go
but
ahead.
my problem is, if you're getting up here and you're saying, okay, a man gets to shoot up whatever club he wants. He's shooting up the club all willy-nilly. He's producing multiple children out of wedlock with bunches of women. What do you mean he doesn't have responsibility just because she chooses to have the baby? You have some of those men who want the baby. And I don't feel like
Well,
you
if he
you
wants the
actually,
baby, it's tough
wait
luck
a minute.
though.
Wait a minute. But
It's
you're not,
still her
let me
baby.
finish my point. Let me finish
Okay.
my point. You're still not giving any credence to those types of men. You do have men that will go there and do whatever to get the woman pregnant. They know when they ejaculate inside of her that she has a potential chance of becoming pregnant. They do it anyway. And then shut the responsibility off on the woman, because when
Listen,
she hits their asses up for child support, then it's, well, she had all these rights. She did all of this. She did
You
all of that.
know what?
How did she get your sperm?
The thing is, the people in this space, they're so they contradict themselves. Like you can't
Fact.
say that low level women are all having baby by Pookie and Ray Ray who have no job, and you feel as though that they're having these babies because there's some sort of financial incentive, and the financial incentive is an extra $100 in food stamps and $200 in cash. Like how much sense does that make? It takes more
well,
than that to raise a child.
neither one of those are arguments I raised. I raised. I was
Not
talking
you per
specifically.
se. I was talking about the
Okay.
comments. People talking smack in the comments.
All right. I'm not reading the chat. I can't read right now. I'm driving. But the idea, and I know I'm being a little bit, facetious. It seems like I'm being a little bit facetious, but I'm just kind of trying to highlight. Once something like abortion is actually on the table, it drastically changes the calculation men should be making, because look, you both acknowledge that that's not our baby. No matter how much DNA goes into that baby, it's your baby, and you own the baby damn near. So like if you
Are
own the
making
baby
a
to
baby,
such
but
extent,
wait a minute. A baby, you choose to take responsibility. A man gets to choose to take responsibility. He gets to choose that if he is not
yes,
married
it's a
to that woman.
choice.
So
It's a choice, and
if
that
you
choice
are
is a gift to
choosing,
you as well.
wait a minute, but if you are choosing to shirk your responsibilities, then of course, who else is left to take care of that baby but that woman, and besides the help of the government, if she is in a lower class of women?
I'm
Yeah.
not disagreeing with you. No, no, this
Okay.
is why women will make that choice, because they understand that's their reality. So I'm speaking for men. Since women understand that that's their reality, why don't we join them in that world? That baby is your baby no matter what. If you kill it, kill it. If you keep it, keep it. So here, once you make that choice, what is there for men to do? What do you want from us?
I agree.
Um,
I
uh,
agree. I think that that's the right attitude to have, but I think a better attitude to have would be the fact that you are taking responsibility for your own trajectory by ensuring that you're protecting yourself. That's my only piece of advice. There's no
yeah.
hypocrisy in the arguments that we're making. We're not now switching or I'm talking to the chat. We're not now
Okay.
switching the argument to advocate for abortion. We're saying you, as the Black man, that you have control of your own destiny prior to engaging in sex with this person by making the decision to protect yourself.
Facts. Shout out to Sick Lid. He says baby means free house, free food, free education. Thank you so much, Sick Lid. And shout out to Eisen Sama. He says if the dude ain't qualified to be a daddy, what qualified him to get the let's solve that
Oh,
problem first. With all
that's
the
a good
men,
one, Eisen. Eisen
yeah,
brings up a good point.
you know what? But like I said in the beginning of the stream, sex is not a thing that qualifies a man to like. Who is that? That's not on mute. Web.
Yeah, there's some feedback.
Okay. Um, that's not a like if him being a father isn't a qualifier to women. What qualifies a lot of men to women, does he look good? Does he smell good?
Yeah, and that's
How
part of
well
the
he
problem.
dresses?
We should be ensuring that
Yeah.
they have good character. Like what type of character does this man have? Not just can he put it down in the bedroom?
Yeah, but it's he looks good, he smells good. Does he have a big D? Can he lay the pipe? Those
Absolutely.
are the things that matter in this hookup culture that you all condone as well. So you saying if the dude ain't qualified to be a daddy, what qualified her to be a mama? Let's solve that
Oh,
problem too. Huh.
Danny, wait, that's a good point. Look, sis, you took it there. Yeah, that's a good point. While we are talking, being that the woman has total control after conception, what are you looking for in the woman? What qualities are you looking for? Are
A
you
fat
ensuring that
ass,
she has before you go up inside
a
of her
fat
without a
ass,
condom on?
a
Because
fat
that should be
ass,
part of the discussion too.
a fat
Look,
ass, and
I'm
she's
trying to tell
willing.
you.
A
I'm trying
fat
to tell
ass,
you.
and she's willing. But next we'll have Melody, and then I want to get Chaos Rain, D,
I
and
think
then
D
maybe
was
we'll
D. It was Melody, D, and then Chaos.
okay.
Hey everybody. Can you hear me?
Hey
Hey,
Melody.
Melody, how's it going?
Hey, it's going all right. How are you guys? How are you
Doing
ladies?
okay.
Okay. So my take on this, which part would you like me to address? Because I know you guys started talking
Anything
about
that
other
you've
things.
heard, because this has been this is a juicy topic. Lord have mercy. I feel it's like, oh my gosh, all over the place. But anything that you've heard, Melody, whatever you want to respond to.
Well, originally I wanted to come up here and say I know there's many reasons for people to get abortions. Me personally, I personally have family members who got them. Excuse me, because like one was too young, one didn't have the money. She was on welfare. She didn't have enough money, and hold on, I'm sorry, I'm walking right now. One was too young, one didn't have the money, and then I had one who just thought the father wasn't shit. So those aren't like valid excuses. Now, the only two that I think is okay is if she was raped or if she had health problems. That's it. But other than that, like, I think it's unacceptable.
I think that's a good point. Those are good points, Melody, because yeah, those are actually really good points. Some people, do actually have health problems, or it was the R word, or maybe
Oh,
the guy
sorry, I
just
said
wasn't
it.
shit. No,
I
it's
said the
okay.
R word.
It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
But let's get D up in here. D, what are your thoughts?
Yeah. I wanted to comment on you guys are talking about choosing the right type of person to have a child with. That's probably like, you know, our number one problem is that men and women aren't choosing the right people to be with. So there's just a lot of chaos and dysfunction going into these situations. Um, when you're having uh, a child, I feel that the last thing you should do is get an abortion. That should be like the last solution. But if you're but if you're but I believe that I'm pro-choice. I believe it's the woman's right to choose whether she wants to abort her child or not. Um, I believe that uh, uh, we should like I feel that there should be less unwanted children in the world. Because if you're getting abortion, then you just don't want that child. So why would we want a child in the world that isn't wanted? I don't get that. That's all.
Thank you, Dee. You have some very good points in there that I agree with. At the end of the day, my premise is that everybody should be being more intentional with who they lay with their reactions their actions as it relates to whomever they decide to share intimate moments with. But being that most of the people in the chat are men, I think that it's incumbent upon you all to ensure that you're protecting your own interests. You can't leave it up to the woman to protect your interests, because we've seen examples time and time again that indicate that she's not going to protect your interests. She could care less about your interests. If you piss her off, your interest is the furthest thing from her mind.
Wait a minute, Concrete. They want to leave her in charge of the sperm.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. Like, come on, seriously. Like, we know how that works. We've seen this happen. I mean, we've seen this story play out over and over again.
She got to write over the sperm, but they don't know what the hell happened after. Like, what?
Listen, and then they're talking. You don't know her last name, but you want her to be in charge of your seed. Come on,
sperm.
That's crazy.
She is in charge of the sperm.
And then they want to say that we're being hypocritical because we see both sides. Anytime we bring up a dissenting point of view that they disagree with, we're being hypocritical or illogical. No, we're explaining it to you from both sides. We can have our views on it and still be able to speak to the other side of the point, which we typically do in this forum.
Birth control, but you leaving her in charge of the sperm. There is no such thing as birth control when it comes down to you protecting yourself. Birth control is for her, not for you. If you don't want to have a baby with a raggedy bitch, then you need to be careful with where you deposit your seed. And that is all. Next.
Okay, ladies, can I ask one thing about this whole protect yourself thing? Yeah, I mean, real quick though, it's the hypocrisy thing. It's not that. I don't think you're intending to be hypocritical. I don't know if you see it. You admit that women need the option to abort. They need that for whatever reason you believe they need that, and so the hypocrisy is men don't need the option to abort as well.
No, we didn't. That wasn't asked as a question. I can say that I think that if it's medically necessary, if the woman's life is on the line, or if there is something, potentially some sort of potential medical issue with the child, or if the child is as a product of some sort of sexual assault, that needs to be an option. Those are extreme circumstances. I didn't.
Well, this baby is a risk to my life.
My life is in jeopardy. Okay, so wait a minute, David. Excuse me, Hoodservative. If the baby is a risk to your life, why are you coming inside of people?
Listen, we both agree to that. We both agree to that.
Yeah.
But
so
you have the same options.
Wait a minute, bro. Wait a minute. So let's keep it a buck. You decide to come inside of a woman knowing that you don't want kids. If y'all have a discussion that y'all don't want kids, you're red pill, but you don't think she would lie?
Okay, what kind of question is that? No.
Because what I am noticing, men will say, okay, I'm red pill. I have these sorts of belief. I understand female nature, but she said she didn't want a kid, or she said she was on birth control. So I decided to shoot up the club with the belief that she doesn't want a kid and she's on birth control. But you actually believe a woman when she says those things
No,
outside of
Rose, you're right.
protecting yourself. Make it make
You're
sense.
absolutely right. No, that's a hypocritical position to take, and that's not what I'm trying to take at all. I was just trying to point out when you guys were talking about hypocrisy, I'm saying that's the nugget of the hypocrisy. All right, that was it. But you're right in that scenario. But the hypocrisy is that men don't also need an alternative. Men don't need options. Men don't need a way out when they
No
made a
one
bad
is
decision.
arguing that, though. We're
But that's
saying
what they were talking about.
No, but my point is this: in our society, there is no alternate option for men. So, because just speaking about in the times that we're in, the current climate, there isn't an alternate option for men. So, because there's not, you need to ensure that you're in charge of your own destiny by protecting yourself prior to, engaging in, or prior to conception.
Oh, hold up. I got another point too. I also know a guy who every time he goes raw, he buys a morning after pill for the girl every time. And that's another way that and that's another
He got
way.
$50 like
provided
that.
she's
Shout
gonna
out to him.
take it.
Yeah.
If she's
Exactly.
gonna take it.
Exactly.
Unless he's slipping her morning after pill smoothies. Sis has that option to take. I'm serious.
Exactly.
Because I've heard of cases where a person has bought a morning after pill and the woman didn't take it and she got pregnant and he was standing there looking crazy. So,
that's
the chaos
assault, right?
reign.
Don't advise men to commit assault.
But what the problem is, you already know the laws are not in your favor. You know this. You know that the law don't give a fuck about you. You know they will throw your ass for non-payment of child support.
The term of the day is male autonomy. You need to ensure that you're in charge of your destiny, that you're governing yourself by protecting yourself. That's all we're saying. That's the remedy.
And not to mention, there's a lot of diseases out there too. You can catch HIV and all types of things going raw.
Thank you. We wanted to get Chaos in here because I know he was waiting. Go ahead, Chaos.
Well, let me say this. I know the dudes love it. Yeah, I got to say shout to all the raw sex out there. Most people still engaging in. My thing is this. In regards to the abortion side of things, as a man, if you feel you want to have that kid and she kills it, my number one question to average man is, why the fuck you still fucking with her? You know what I'm saying? She already made her decision, said she didn't want no kids. She didn't want with you. The only thing you put her in the category is she is going to be labeled and be forever be a pump and dump. And no outcomes to it. Certain women, if they want to keep the kid or not. And she already admitted during the early parts of this conversation, Sister George, that she let him know clear that I don't want no kids. Obviously, that's the sign to say, well, I guess I could shoot up the club freely. You know what I'm saying? She ain't want to keep it, either she's pregnant or not. That should be indication to the subconscious mind of the thinking black man. Now, if the thinking black man is not thinking that remorse, and he decides to say, I want this baby, I'm gonna shoot the club anyway. And if you kill it, I'm gonna be mad and angry, then that's on you. She's putting the pressure on you that, say, are you gonna stay or go? And most dudes nowadays that they complain about, they just want the sex, they want no outcomes out of it. It's not a problem to the average man. Now, if he's going it and he want a long-term relationship, no marriage involved, but just want to kick it and, just want to have this so-called relationship that's lengthy, no marriage tied to it, then, like I said, it's going to put more pressure on you. Can now think about it. She'll get pregnant because y'all going to be having sex, either raw or protected. The outcome of the sex is going to be child or life is going to come into the picture. So either she's going to make the decision to keep it or eliminate it. And we all know in America, there's an incentive keeping babies. They'll send you to the state for child support, for all the stuff. That's going to extract some resources. That's pretty much a lot nowadays because most of the average now is $400, $500 now. And you're going to complain about it because you want to still have your fun and good and you want no strings attached. It's like the same conversation I had with Topaz when we had this live stream 2 days ago about this financial abortion nonsense. And I'm thinking, it sounds good, it sounds wonderful, but unless you're putting money down it and a whole bunch of men are down with this and gonna go into the system and say we want this as law, it's a pipe dream. And we all know the average man, black man, is not taking action and doing the necessities to get the better outcomes. Now, walking out your feet and say, I don't participate. Oh, that's one form of action, but that's so small and it could be much greater since most of y'all are making your money here in America. So that's only my layout to all the problems. And like I said, the only tangible solution is you just don't have sex. And we all know human beings require and need sex. So I had to leave that off the table. All I know is, if you're going to go in there, be cautious. You know what I'm saying? Your pull-out game's weak, you better wear 2 condoms. That's all.
Thank you, Chaos Rain. Shout out to DJ Nop. He says, can we at least acknowledge there is a difference between having sex and being in a relationship? I think most of us have acknowledged that. I think we acknowledge hookup culture. I think we've acknowledged it ad nauseum. There is a total difference, but a lot of people are having sex with people that if a person got pregnant or a person got them pregnant, they wouldn't want the child. 1,800 abortions a day are proof of enough. 20 million children that's been aborted is proof of enough that y'all are having sex with people y'all don't want babies with, and women are having sex with men they don't want babies by.
Sister
It's
George,
just what it is.
I'm asking a question. What
Sure.
about one night stands? Do you believe that a woman should get an abortion in that case? Like if she'll never see him again?
No, she shouldn't be so reckless with her vag. Is the
Thank
remedy
you.
to that? Like,
But what
come
if
on now.
what if the condom broke or the condom came off?
I mean, you know that condoms are not 100%. I just still think that that's extremely reckless. I feel like the morning after pill is also
Condoms are
a form of
87% effective.
wait. Chaos. I feel
Yeah.
like I feel like the morning after pill is still a form of abortion. However, if you know that you slept with somebody and it was a one night stand and the condom broke, like why aren't you running out to get a morning
Right
after
away. Exactly.
Yeah.
That was just a question.
That was a
Shout
good
out to
question,
Babe.
Melody.
He says birth control plus socks plus pull-out game equals not the next future. It's that simple. Just saying. Thank you, Babe. Some guys like being future. Some guys like being able to impregnate 15 women and spreading their seed all across the world. Some men do like that. And I don't think these are normal men. I don't think these are necessarily normal occurrences, but you do have some men like that. So maybe not Webb's world. What are your thoughts?
How's everybody doing today? I tell this to my brothers because I'm 24, right? I tell this to all my niggas, all my women. Excuse me, I know I didn't say the word nigga. Just like what did Big Boy tell Ant right before he shot him dead in his chest in ATL? This is grown man business. Too many people need to stop acting like accountability is not on both sides. The reason why you shot him is because he shot him because you shorted me. Do you care if something happened to me? No. So why do I gotta care if something happened to you? And another thing I want to talk about is Freeway Rick Ross. That man basically said straight up and down, I'm not mad at the man who snitched on me because it was my fault for getting back into the drug game. Too many people don't like this A word, accountability. It don't matter if she said she was on birth control. Wear a condom. It don't matter if he said pull out. Stay on birth control. Get the morning after pill. Too many people don't like to face this reality of accountability. It's always we like to project. That's why when I bring up the Rick Ross, the Freeway Rick Ross situation, because that man almost lost his life in behind bars, and never once did he say, it's the person who told on me. It's fault. It's not the fact that they got me with millions of pounds of dope, millions of dollars in secret locations. No, it's because you told. No, nigga. And you can't simply say, and like I said the last time I was on this show, maybe the first time you shoot the club up, you don't get a girl pregnant. But just like Kevin Gates said, little brother, we are creatures of habits. Things that we allow over and over again with no negative precaution, that becomes our standard. And then when something bad happens, people out here looking shocked. That's because you finally gave up your accountability. When you first shot the club up, every nigga knows I don't give a damn. I'm sorry if I'm getting you in trouble. Every nigga knows that the first time you shot the club up, your heart was racing. You wasn't like, it's whatever. You weren't shrugging your shoulders. You was nervous. Most people I could say that for. I know I was. When I finally put water in the condom and I see a little bit of water come out, my heart was jumping out of my chest because I wasn't ready to be a father. But at the same time, I told myself, Devin, you need to start practicing some sexual exclusivity, because right now, how you feeling is not how you should be feeling. Because at the end of the day, like the brother said, we need sex. I disagree. You don't need sex. You want sex. You ain't gonna die. I ain't never seen someone go to the doctor and they say, well, in order to get this tumor out your brain, you need to get some pussy. Never heard it. I ain't never seen somebody with a rare disease that dick cures it. Never seen it. It doesn't hurt you. This is always a want, not a need. Yes, our purpose in life is to reproduce. I am fully aware. But we have a higher level of sentience than animals. That is the animal's purpose. All right? So even when it comes down to abortion, I tell men all the way up to it, we don't have an opinion on this shit. Because at the end of the day, you're not killing a child. A dead baby is not coming out of your body. Your body is not forever scarred from this. Your mind isn't mentally jarred from this. That's only if you wanted the child and she killed the baby, and that's in rare situations. Most people who are fully aware they got a girl pregnant and she's at the abortion office, he knows she's there for a reason. He ain't there to have the baby. There to get rid of it. But at the end of the day, too many people need to start taking accountability for sex. This is why I tell people not to practice abstinence, but to practice sexual exclusivity. Like my uncle always told me, how you got time to pump and sweat over somebody's child, but you ain't got no time to make money? How that work? How you find time to pull up on her, but you ain't found time to pull up on a job? That don't make sense. So that's when I look at people like, oh, well, them people in poverty, they need all of this stuff. They don't need nothing. I'm sorry. It sounds harsh, but I'm telling you, no one told you to pump and sweat over somebody's child. Ain't no man forced you. That's not what happens. I promise you. Women who are raped do not go to EBT. They go to the police station. That's not how that works. So at the end of the day, us as a people need to start taking accountability. Like I said the last time I was here, we need to start holding others accountable. If your homegirl is out here fucking and sucking, you need to tell her, bitch, right now, you ain't got $5,000.
Yeah, but you know what, Webb's World? I'm gonna tell you something. People do give this advice and these lessons to people. We do as a people.
No, but here's the thing, though. Excuse me, not to cut you off, brother.
You didn't let me finish my point.
I apologize.
The whole problem is people will do whatever it is when they want to do. People do what they want whenever they want, and all of that stuff boils down to self. What is self going to do? You can have all the best damn advice in the world. If you're put in a situation and you have no discipline, you don't have any sexual discipline, a person looks good, they feel good to you at the moment, a lot of that shit goes out of the window. But I do want to get Bomb Cherry up in here because we haven't seen Bomb in a minute. Shout out.
I just want to finish my point.
Okay, because baby, you was going. Shout out to Wiggly. I'm gonna read this and then I'm gonna let you go. Shout out to Wiggly. It says, until prison is a consequence for women, this is a winless discussion for men. Wiggly, I somewhat agree.
That's what I was gonna get into. I was gonna say, like I said last time I was on an episode, it's the big I word, incentive. What is the reason why you wake up every morning to go to work, do whatever you do? Because you got to pay your bills. You got to eat. Got to come home to a warm house. So I tell this to my people. the incentive for them to listen to you is ostracization from you. You're not going to be able to call me with the dumb shit in your personal relationship. You're not going to be able to rely on me. And as much as people want to sound gangster, talking about, I don't need nobody, ask anybody who's ever been in jail for over 10 years. And they'll tell you the worst shit that ever happened to them was not getting beat up, not getting stabbed, not getting raped, not the COs. It was the whole. When you can't call nobody.
As many people that pretend to be gangster and say they ain't gonna help people, shit, call grandma. Grandma still gonna have you. But anyway,
Exactly.
You ain't gonna hold it down.
He gonna hold it
And
down.
that's the problem.
All this shit now. You put a kid in front of him crying and shit. All right.
Yeah, but grandma only gonna be around but for so long, Chief. That's what I tell all my women, all my guys. Grandma only gonna be here but for so long. I've been buried my grandma. I buried my father's mother and my mother's mother.
Yeah, but you still gonna I think it's most
I ain't even 25.
humans, I think it's in most humans to help before they hurt. So if most people put a child up, most people are sensitive to children and women. That's just what it is. And
That's
people
fact.
will use those children and women will use those children to manipulate. Children in themselves kind of have a somewhat of a manipulative nature. So I mean, we say what we ain't gonna do, but I be talking big shit. I ain't doing I ain't child, you can I just get a $5? Okay, fine. Here, child. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
Let
That's what I'm
me
saying.
get
We gotta
Mama
start
in
holding
here.
our people accountable.
Yeah,
Real talk.
you trying to hold people accountable, but you can't hold people for accountable to a certain degree if a child is sitting in front of you hungry. Most people ain't gonna say fuck the children right in front of you. You say fuck the kids when we on the net talking shit. We say fuck the kids when we are around in certain situations, but when you're faced with certain situations, it's hard for most people to turn children away. It's hard for
That's
most
very
people to say fuck the kids when you know the child is hungry, you know the mama ain't shit. It's hard for us to say that because we don't want to see
Then
people.
call child services.
Yeah, we
Then the end.
could.
The end. Call child services.
Yeah, but if you in a lot of situations, and I think for most people, when you're faced with that situation right then, right there, you're not going to call child services first versus
Right.
getting the child fed first or making sure the child is okay first. That's what I'm saying.
But that's what I'm saying.
That's part of being a village and part of being a community. Like that's a last resort where I'm from. You know, you look out for one another. You don't like we call that calling a white man. You don't call a white man. Like, come on, you know, you look out for one another. So I do think that it's our natural inclination to try to help before we take it there.
But we're not helping. We're enabling. Like we're telling people that it's like when I tell this to my brothers and my sisters, dropping your baby off at your mama house and your grandma house. First of all, grandma is just she's not going to be the disciplinarian that she once was in her 30s and 40s.
And that's unfair to grandma too, because grandma then raised her kids, you know. But at the same time, child services would be enabling too. People don't stop having kids because child services took some of their kids. Like they'll continue making the same choices and being reckless. Like that's not necessarily a wake up call, but I do understand your overall point.
It's just like we have to come to a point where we're not glorifying negativity and we're ostracizing it to the back. Because as much as I tell this to my brothers, there's just as much white men at that child support office as there are brothers. But white men not fucking stupid, excuse my language. White men not stupid enough to tell the world, hey, white men also don't raise children. Excuse me? Yeah, we're not gonna do that to white women. White women gonna go to the child office and blow it up. Y'all think black women, man, please, you little 300, 400 ain't nothing to what Jake can get you.
Let me say this really quickly. Imperator made an interesting point. Imperator says terminating kids is the ultimate form of saying F those kids. Wow. That's true. I agree with that. Very, very, very good point. I wanted to get Bomb in here real quick and see what she has to say on the topic. Hey, Bomb, what do you think about the topic and what are your comments, dear?
How's everybody doing?
Hey, Bomb.
Doing good.
Hey,
How you doing?
I'm doing well. I was the young man who was just speaking. I kind of agree with some of the things he was saying. This is the whole issue, though. This holding other people accountable or expecting people to live their lives the way you expect them to. And it's ridiculous. Just the thought process that you think you could tell a woman or a man what to do with their bodies is ridiculous. These men, if we start telling them they need to get a vasectomy, then the whole conversation would change. So to tell a woman first that she can't have an abortion is ridiculous. Okay. What you young men who do not want kids, go down and get your little thing snipped. That's all. Just go get it snipped. Then you don't have to worry about that. Watch the men in the chat. Watch how they comment about that, because they think that
that's an option, Bob.
And you know what, Mom? It's reversible too.
That's
right.
Only
after a certain period. After I believe 2 to 3 years, a vasectomy is irreversible.
No, that's not true. They able to go in and mend those pipes back together, and it's simple.
No, after a certain time, a vasectomy is
that's not true. Okay, but as far as it goes with abortion, everybody's responsible, the male, female, as far as getting her pregnant. But check it out. Once you men give her your gift, which is your seed, if you thought of it as a gift, then you won't be giving it to just anybody. If you really understood what you're giving her, you would then put on a condom, or you may not sleep with her at all. But once you give her that gift, there's no takebacks. And you lose all control, as you should. That's just the way it is. That you know, you give me a lollipop and I eat the lollipop. You can't come back and ask me for the lollipop back. Goddamn, I done ate the goddamn lollipop.
Miss Bombcherry, can I ask you a question, please, ma'am?
Yes.
You mentioned control twice now, and I'd like to point out something. You accuse men of wanting to control women by, restricting abortion or something like that, right?
I didn't even say that, but go ahead.
Well, you mentioned vasectomies as a counter to abortion. So, but either way, the argument.
When I mentioned control, wait a minute. When I said control, I was talking about regular people like me and you trying to control other people. I didn't say any. So go ahead, though. Make your point.
Well, I would argue that, but if we're saying that somebody's trying to exert control over somebody as being the aggression, the aggressors are women initially, because you trying to extract child support is the first control, and you just double down on that at the end.
First of all,
by saying that you lose all rights to any control.
How are you equating a woman getting pregnant with child support? There are many women who get pregnant who don't get child support. Many women who are married, of course, they're not getting child support. So y'all are the ones taking that giant leap because you're mad because you have to take care of your child.
Right, that is you having control, man. No, the fact that you can demand a man to perform to your ability, to your commandments, is control.
George, it's controlling your life, right? Like, when y'all gonna stop? When you gonna be logical like you claim you are?
What's illogical about what I said? I'm telling you that women are the ones fighting for control, not men.
Women are not fighting for control. If a woman has all the rights to her body, and
the babies that come out of them, right? And the babies that come out, you're fighting for control.
A woman is not fighting for control. She's already in control. The baby that she already has control. The whole problem is, and this is what I think men don't, it seems like it kind of goes over your head or goes out one ear and out the other. Y'all don't have any control. Y'all know y'all don't have any control. So when you skeet off in a woman and she takes your ass for child support and she takes you for all you are fucking worth, that does come down to be your fault. But y'all will look at the women like, well, she shouldn't have did that. She should have did this. This isn't what we agreed to. This is how how babies are born.
Why do you not want to acknowledge that is all women using methods of control for her advantage?
Yeah,
the fact that
what I am saying
nobody's arguing that men nobody's arguing men are out of control, that men lack control. We all understand that. But I'm just arguing against the fact that we're trying to control y'all in the first place. We're trying to protect ourselves. We're not trying to control y'all.
So how do you protect yourself?
But a
Well, for
vasectomy
one,
is almost irreversible. I'm
No,
literally
it's
looking
not.
at the
No,
article.
no. I actually
yeah,
just
I'm
looked it
Lee's,
up.
no,
I
I'm
Sister
just
Lee,
looked
looking
it
put the
up.
at
cards on
the
the table.
reversal. I can look at
Bro,
it right
One
here. It
person at a
says,
time, though. We can't hear when everyone's talking at the same time.
okay, I'm just want to say I'm literally reading from Google. Almost all vasectomies can be reversed. However, this does not guarantee success in conceiving a
Nothing
child.
is guaranteed.
That doesn't guarantee
Ooh.
vasectomy. And the last part, it says, but the longer it has been, the less likely the reversal will work. So if you're someone like me who gets a vasectomy at
How old are
24,
you?
it's
24.
unlikely for it to be reversible by the time you're ready to start having children and start a family, which most men are going to do roughly at 33, which is going to be in the next 9 to 10 years. Which
So
I
you know
do
what
not
you
believe.
gotta do. You know you
It's just
gotta
that
step
simple.
up. You know you
That's right.
should be careful with the women that you pick to have sex with, right?
But that's what I said. It takes both people to be accountable. And
No. This is where y'all
You
keep getting
can't
fucked up
expect
at.
another person to be accountable for
You,
concerned about your interests. It's up to you to be concerned about your interests and
put
to
some ladies
practice
on here.
autonomy,
I'm
just like
not
it's up to
necessarily
the woman to be
concerned about
concerned
me,
about
the
her own interests.
individual. I'm not talking about me, the individual. I'm talking about the individuals in both. Because this is like every woman says, it takes two to tango. Ain't no woman just walk past a dude or walk past a woman and just said, you know what, I feel like getting pregnant right now. That's not how that works. So at
We've
some point,
seen
it
this
takes.
play out time and time again. Like, you don't leave another person in control of your destiny, because it will never work out how you desire. That's up to you. This is your life path, your trajectory. You control it.
I think
And I
we
will
all
venture
just
to say,
presented a deeper problem, though. All right, what does this do for
Yes,
the
sir.
constant? All right, you just asked me, Sister George, what what would I do or something, like how would I protect myself? And the solution is pretty drastic. Like you have to just assume that you can't. If women know for a fact that once they get pregnant, they take all control, then now you know that they are essentially presenting themselves as enemies, and you have to look at it kind of like that. I mean, you ladies are
well, this
presenting
is what
yourselves
I'm
as
gonna
a certain
say.
amount of
This is
enemies.
what
So,
wow,
I'll
because let
say.
me tell you why. Hold
illogical.
on.
We all
Let me
can't talk at
explain
the
why.
same
Let me
time.
explain why. Let me explain why. As men, how are we supposed to take it, knowing that when we present to the ladies, our counterparts, these are the issues, these are the problems, these are the situations that afflict us, and you either deny or you distract or you just laugh at the problem. How are we supposed to take that? And then when you ask us, like, well, what are we going to do about it? I mean, well, you've made yourself an enemy. What do you think we should do?
Go in the
I
corner
don't
Wow,
and
necessarily.
lie.
that's
I'll say this.
Like
inflammatory.
your shit.
I'll say this. I'll say this. If we are steadily choosing to have children with people that we don't want to have kids with, that is a big part of the problem. Hookup culture is a huge part of the problem. If we are pumping and dumping, that's a huge part of the problem, because we are steadily having sex with people that we don't want to marry, that we don't want kids by. So that is probably the biggest nuance in this situation, because everybody's out here fucking. Sex doesn't mean anything like it used to. Sex is just a penis and a vagina, and I'll holler at you later type of situations. So I think when we start to acknowledge, okay, we want more from our women, we want more from our men,
Mhm.
it's a thing that's on both sides. Like, men don't get that a woman has control over all of these things, but yet you still are willing to take that risk.
Absolutely.
A woman knows that a man
That
he can
just
leave
proves we
whenever.
love y'all. We
Hold,
love
Yeah,
hold
y'all.
on.
Y'all don't love
but
us.
Hold
Y'all
And
on,
don't
because
love
as a
us like we
child,
love
yes,
I
I
y'all.
take
want,
responsibility.
We walk through fire to be in that
that's
pussy, and
that
y'all don't give a
that's
fuck.
not true. And like the comment like that you made about us being what did you say, enemies? Is that the how you prefaced your comment?
I said you
I think
present
that's,
yourself as enemies.
but let me just say this. I think that that's kind of inflammatory. I think that I don't think that we're enemies, but I think that women and men want something different. A lot of times men are looking for a good time, whereas the woman is looking for some sort of emotional connection. And because a child is born, sometimes that child, like that woman feels like that child can be the catalyst to establishing that emotional connection with a man. I think that we simply want two different things. That means that we're on opposite sides of the spectrum as it relates to what we desire in the relationship, but that doesn't mean that we're enemies. That means as a woman, we're going to do, if you understand if you understand the nature of women, they're going to do what they want to get what they want. And as a man, if you feel like that could impact your interests, it's up to you to ensure that you're doing what you need to do to protect your interests.
Ma'am, you just said women don't want a good time. Why would abortion exist if women didn't just want a good goddamn time? Please.
I don't understand.
I don't think that women don't want a
thing,
good time. And I did not say that women don't want a good time. I said that's typically what a man is looking for. Yes, there are some women who want a good time. And yes, there are some women who want an emotional connection, but want that to come with them having a good time.
I don't understand because
that's not all we typically want.
On college campuses, there's never a pregnancy scare, and there's usually never a pregnancy scare from my experience.
Yeah.
And they're having sex like willy-nilly. I mean, it's not. I don't understand how.
Do you really believe that there are pregnancy scares on college campuses? Come on now.
This conversation. Hold on. Let me hop in here. This conversation is getting ridiculous. I cannot believe I'm actually listening to grown men on this panel not take responsibility for protecting themselves during sex. This is ridiculous. I'm listening to grown men who are older than me complaining about. Hold on, bro. You've been talking the whole time. Hold on,
Dennis,
bro.
Get
You've
your
been
point
talking
out.
the whole time. This is absolutely ridiculous. Are y'all really telling me that the average guy just can't go to Walmart, spend $11.99 for a box of condoms, and go about and enjoy his life? This is absolutely crazy. But then, and then guys just want to say, well, it's the woman's fault for having the kid. Dude, just go and put a piece of rubber on your penis and go out and enjoy your life. Don't really understand why this is such a problem.
Okay.
Let me read these super chat first. Shout out to Topaz. She says, I'm having a hard time understanding how people want to have sex with someone who is not upstanding or in poverty for this to even be a discussion. Thank you so much, Topaz. Shout out to Mr. Curlin. He says control starts before conception. Like Bomb says, when a dude hands over that gift, influence takes over. A man's control is limited.
I've been saying that from the start.
Yes, thank you so much, babe. Next we're gonna get Fantastic up in here.
Can I address this real quick, bro? You misunderstood me completely. Not once have I ever spoken a harsh word against men protecting themselves. That is never a position I've taken, not once on this panel or ever before. All I'm highlighting is that the reality is that men must protect themselves because women don't fucking care and they will sacrifice you for practically anything. And I'm just letting it play out in conversation. They don't care. And I'm just letting the ladies explain how and why they don't care.
Well, bro, here's the thing. We know this. It's your responsibility as a man to know that and to protect yourself going forward. I don't really get a vasectomy, wear a condom. Like, you got to look at I don't get it. This conversation is ridiculous.
Brother, you keep answering your own question by saying you don't get it. How old are you, bro?
I'm 27.
Okay, so apparently, bro, and I'm not trying to say this in a disrespectful way, young fella. You haven't had enough sexual experiences with women to see the shit that they will fucking do in order.
I've had more than you have, that's for sure.
Oh, sure, okay. All right. So the fact of the matter that you're talking about, I don't know, I don't get it, nigga says otherwise. So don't get
No. Hold on, Fantastic. I'm not saying
one at a time, guys. He's just talking about accountability, Fantastic. Like why?
That's what I'm talking about, Fantastic. I'm just talking about the whole accountability aspect.
Out of his mouth. Words mean things. You keep saying you don't get it, you don't get it, you don't get it. That means you haven't had enough fucking experience with enough fucking women to understand.
I've had more than you have.
Okay,
maybe he's saying he don't get you men. That's what he's saying. Now you up here lying.
I'll explain. I'll explain exactly what I'm saying.
I think that he's just more intentional about his experiences. Fantastic.
No, hold on. I will explain exactly what I'm saying. When I say I don't get it, when I'm saying I don't get it, what I'm trying to say is I don't understand how men will say that they know, like, women will use the baby for X, Y, and Z to use the baby and hold it all and hold essentially hold the baby over them, but then they're still going out and having unprotected sex. That's what I'm trying to understand.
Well, again, no, that's where you're wrong. So you still don't get it. You're proving my fucking point. Look, bruh, until you've been in a fucking situation where you're in an actual relationship with a woman, monogamous, agreed upon fucking relationship, as where she's taking fucking birth control and being responsible. She purposely stops taking the fucking birth control and does not fucking tell you, and you keep nutting in her because you think that she's still on the fucking birth control. Then she turns up pregnant, nigga. You don't
that's
understand.
your fault. Why'd you stop wearing the condom? Why'd you trust her then?
Shut the fuck up, bro, while I'm talking. I didn't say shit
shut
like
the fuck up.
Well, come on, like let's be respectful. We can have a conversation. Listen, we have to remain respectful on the panel. We can have a conversation without screaming at one another because we disagree on the points and insulting one another. Like, come on, like this, we're grown. We're grown adults, like beyond grown. A person does not have to agree with your point in order for you to remain respectful in your dialogue with them. Seriously, what's the problem?
So
David Johnson said, I'm sorry, real quick, Bomb, and I'm gonna let you rock. David Johnson said, here's what I hear: children matter, women matter, men don't. Keep up, fellas. I don't think that that's the point that's being made, but I think that the point is that really and truly, like, you don't know what a person is going to do until they do it. So it's in your best interest to always protect yourself. And that's not just for men. Women have been screwed too. Women have gone into situations with men who say that they want the baby, and as soon as the baby is here, they're gone. Or, gone into situations with men who say, yeah, have the abortion, but then they throw it up in your face for having it. So it's just that you can't control what a person is going to do. So as a result, it's in your best interest, all people, to protect yourself and protect your own vested interests. I want to let Bomb go real quick, and I don't know who was next after that.
Well, you can let Oh, I thought he came up. Is he
come back up?
Well, he left. He just left, but I did bring the guys back up. When it gets too volatile, as opposed to sitting here trying to argue over y'all, I'm gonna just drop y'all down until it calms, and then we'll bring y'all back up. No biggie.
Yeah, you gotta let everybody cool off.
Yeah. Shout out to bro David Johnson. He says,
I read that one.
Oh, you already read it?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, child. No I was just like, oh my gosh, violence. Just kidding.
You forgot the two words, check and mate. Anyway,
right. Good point.
I get so nervous when the men get excited. Jesus,
fantastic. Okay. No, we want to be able to hear one another. It sounds horrible on the playback when everybody is yelling over one another. We know that y'all can, yell at each other and then, be okay. You guys aren't like us and get in your feelings. But in order to have an orderly panel, it's important for people to talk one at a time. Fantastic. No, he can come back up if he has something that he
just
wants
told
to
us
say.
to redrop the link. He good. Shout out to James Hudson. He says Aaron Fountain made another video about y'all two again. Dude is weird. He also was fantastic in the video. Aaron Fountain, if you're out there listening, the invitation still stands whenever you would like to come on and interview us, as opposed to taking clips and putting them into your own context, which you're being full of shit. We're ready, because if I go to your channel and take clips from you and the rhetoric and shit that you guys support, I'm sure I could come up with some shit too. So shout out to you. Thank you so much for the promotion of our channel. We definitely appreciate that.
That's funny though. Like, if you want to take clips from our content, the very least that you should do from anybody, if not reaching out and saying, hey, do you mind if I use this clip if you don't have a personal relationship with them? Saying, hey, do you guys want to come on? Because I'm going to use some of your content.
No, but if Aaron Fountain is able to say that these women are pick-me's and that these women support everything that these guys say, it pushes towards Aaron Fountain's rhetoric. I was recently on Aaron Fountain's channel the other day when he was interviewing Psycho Candy, but and he was trying to misquote some shit we had said then. Like I said, you're a pussy for this. You're very a big pussy at that. Anytime somebody tries to use your words out of context and doesn't give you a chance to explain, that makes you a pussy. That makes you not manly. That makes you everything that you talk about with these guys over here. You're worse than them because you just throw out whatever the fuck you want to whenever the fuck you want.
Right.
And I know you're a pussy. So
the thing is, you could, like, if you dice up our commentary, then of course you can find something to support your agenda. If you listen to us for 10 minutes, you'll be able to hear us provide points that support men and points that support women. Like, we're fairly balanced, unlike most of the people in this space. So yeah, it's clear that he's pushing an agenda.
And we keep trying to tell you guys, this was a channel to be a intersection between the sisterhood and the manosphere. We keep bringing up that point. So if we're able to provide points from the sisterhood, if we're able to provide points of the manosphere, this is the shit that we've heard on both sides. So y'all can kind of miss us with that bullshit too.
Absolutely. And that's the common argument that they like to make, that like we're inconsistent. It's not that we're inconsistent. We don't subscribe to everything that the sisterhood says and does, and we dang sure don't subscribe to everything that the men in this space say and do. We have our own thought processes. However, more often than not, we can understand both sides and both points that are being made, which was our intention for creating this space. So nonetheless, I'm sorry, go ahead, Danny, and I want to go ahead and let the panel rock out.
I know. Shout out to Full Circles Essentials. He says, if women are truly the enemy, then men would stop engaging with them as a whole, mentally, physically, sexually, and spiritually. That's crazy. Just saying. They the enemy until it's time to do it.
That's it. We have a lot of hate fucking going on.
So
Shout out to Obsidian. Shout out to Obsidian.
Shout out to brother David Johnson. Bomb, I promise you I'm gonna let you rock. Shout out to David Johnson. He says, Aaron Fountain, you looking real stalkerish. Get off the woman sphere's clitoris. No means no. Get him, FG and CR. And we got him.
Thank you, bro, David. David, respond to my email, please, brother.
Appreciate it. Okay, go ahead, Bomb.
Okay, so I want to make 2 points. One, Mr. Fantastic mentioned what a woman he's in a relationship did to him. And what I would say is still accountability, right? Because if you living with a woman, whether she's your wife or your girlfriend, you know whether she's taking birth control or not, right? Because it's not like she take this pill once a month.
No, you don't. It's not a pill. This is not the 70s.
What do you mean this is not the 70s? There's all types of birth control pills.
You just proved my point.
There's shots. Okay, so what, she was getting a shot?
She had the shot, that thing that hurt you, that you put in your cervix, and then she had the patch.
Okay, so let's talk about that thing she put in her cervix. You think that she decided for that not to work? IUD, that's what it's called. And you do know that it's not as effective as birth control pills or the shot. But if you knew that, so that's where research come in. You men get...
So a man got to be a whole scientist to get pussy.
Well, you just have to do a Google search.
Hey,
unless you want to have a kid.
You can add it to your repertoire.
You gotta say responsibility. All the onus is on the man.
No, it's not. She's responsible. Wait a minute. Let me finish my second point. Better get to what you're talking about now, right? So y'all say that once a woman gets pregnant, then she isn't accountable, but isn't she? Because she has to decide whether she's going to have the baby or not. Now, if she decides to have an abortion, that is not a very simple thing for a woman to decide to do. So she has to wait.
For black women done killed over 20 million.
Anyway, that bullshit. But anyway, or if she decides to have that baby for 9 months.
Get it in, Fantastic, in just a second, because I do want to hear your points. But I'm sorry, go ahead, Bomb.
Okay, so either she has the abortion or she decides to have the baby. You are complaining that she's having a baby, and you're also complaining that she's having an abortion. But if she decides to have a baby, well, 10 months of what she's going to go through. Isn't that accountability? Then she's now a parent. Maybe a single
Natural bodily process isn't accountability.
I'm sorry?
Yeah,
what?
A natural bodily process isn't accountability.
No, sir. I won't let you do that. I won't let you do it.
You were literally
I'm going to tell you why I won't let you do it.
You were crafted by the hands of God for this job.
No, sir. I'm going to tell you pregnancy, while it may be a naturally bodily process for a woman, it's definitely not the same for a man. When a woman goes to full term carrying a baby, it's not her just simply walking around the block and that's it, and she has the baby. A lot of women have problems with carrying a baby to full terms without any
Absolutely.
complications. So you
Absolutely.
can miss me with that shit.
Are we
Yeah,
denying that women
wait,
are built to give birth? Are we saying
bro.
you're not
Wait a
built
minute,
to
bro.
give birth? You're
Say
not
what?
designed for that specific. Are we denying that you're not
you
designed for
are.
that
So
specific
you are
purpose?
designed. So
But do you
then you will
understand the
Okay,
risk?
I
also
just
know
want to acknowledge
There's
the
a high
biology of
risk
reality.
associated. There's a high risk associated
But
with it. Do
how
you
is that
Fair
understand
enough.
that? Because you're
accountability?
not acknowledging it.
How would you be accountable
wait
for
a
it though?
minute.
Okay,
Wait a
hold on.
minute. If you are
Let
having a
Danny
woman,
speak.
if you are having a woman that's carrying the baby like she is supposed to, then that means it does have to be a sense of accountability, because there are certain things that you are not to do if you want a healthy child while you are
Okay.
carrying the baby. You can't
Okay.
drink, you can't smoke, you shouldn't be in certain places. Not
And how
have
many
sex
women do
others.
all of those
I'm not
things?
done. I'm not done.
All
I'm
of
not
them.
done. I'm not done. I'm not done. Certain types of foods you can eat. You have to be responsible for taking a vitamin every day. You have to go to your doctor's visits. If
You
you're
can't even
having
eat lunch
certain
meat.
types of complicated, I'm saying there's so much that
Okay.
goes into just carrying a child, as
Ladies,
And
opposed
I'm
to you
giving
just
you
getting
all of
pregnant
that.
and just being able to walk around.
it's
Not you,
So hold on.
fantastic, but that was on
But
David.
even still,
So
no,
now
because
you
I'm
can
on the.
go. Go ahead, because you
Hold
can.
on. So this is what I'm saying. So again, to all those points you just give, Concrete Rose and Sister George, how many homegirls you know that were pregnant that smoked or drank? Go.
To be
Okay.
honest
Go
with
ahead,
you,
Danny.
to be very honest with you, I know one that was drinking for probably like the first trimester, but after the first trimester she stopped drinking. So I will say I do know one.
And she knew.
Okay,
Hold on.
let
But
Hold
wait
on.
a
me ask
minute,
you.
wait a
What's the
minute, wait a
context?
minute,
they're
wait a minute,
distracting
wait a
us. No,
minute,
they
wait
are
a minute.
Hold
distracting us,
up.
Hold up.
bro.
Hold
Gentlemen,
up.
She's
this
not
is all a
done.
I'm
smoke
gonna mute
screen.
y'all. I'm
Wait a
gonna mute
minute.
y'all
She's
real
not
quick.
done.
I'm saying I know one that did that, but the majority of women that I know actually had lived decent pregnant lives. They did not drink, smoke, do whatever, because they wanted healthy children. And if you know anybody that's had a baby with a disability and you know what kind of
Yep.
shit that causes, y'all don't be making sense. Like,
All
Well,
right, ladies,
well,
Let me
can
actually,
I make
respond.
comments?
Let me
I would love to let the
respond
person
before you
finish.
guys
hold on one
respond,
second.
because you asked both of us really quickly. I don't know any women who drank during their pregnancy, but I do know women who smoked, primarily, smoked a little bud during their pregnancies. Yes, I do know a few women who smoked during their pregnancies.
Okay,
Can I
great. All
just
right, so
point something out?
okay, everybody stop jumping in on my shit. I just fucking got
Yeah,
here.
let Fantastic
Go ahead, bro.
respond
Go
because
ahead,
he
go ahead.
hasn't had a chance. Go ahead,
Oh,
Fantastic.
damn. So this is all I'm saying. Whether it be 1 or 100, and if you were to go down and look at the numbers of babies born with addiction and things, I know this person because I know somebody that works in the what do you call it? Like DFS, Department and Family Children Services, all that kind of stuff. I
Yeah.
know people that do that. So it happens, especially in the black community, a whole lot more than people will ever acknowledge and talk about. Why? Because the sisterhood is protecting itself. Women be out here drinking beer, hard liquor, smoking weed, cigarettes, doing crack, heroin, all these different kinds of things.
What? Get out of here.
Again, don't argue with me. Check your health department and check the stats of your city, state, and the major metropolitan areas. Fantastic was right. Anyway, we'll move on from that. All of this accountability bullshit, talking about men aren't accountable, or the only person that's got a motherfucking watch and give a damn about a child being had is a man, is bullshit. Listen, paternity fraud is a thing that's a fucking reason. A man has no recourse in fucking trusting a woman or even fucking a woman, whether it be with a condom, without a condom, or whatever the fuck. Bitches do women will do everything from poke holes in condoms to fucking tell you shit like, oh well, I'm allergic to this, allergic to that, and so on and so forth. And it's still, is it a man have a responsibility? Yes, he does. But when it gets really, really diabolical and just downright sinister, is when, again, situations like mine, as to where somebody's gonna try and tell me, oh, you need to watch her take the pill every day. You need to watch her, go get the shot. No, that's fucking unrealistic. And again, you're basically telling the man, do not trust women. I have a whole bunch of women up here that are agreeing with us, proving our point, telling you that what? You cannot trust a fucking
That's
woman.
not what I'm
Sex.
saying.
That is exactly what you're fucking saying.
No,
You're
I
telling
don't
me
think so.
Wait
But
a
listen,
minute. Wait a
where
minute. Let
these
her
women
finish,
fucking
Mom.
hoes in
Let
your
her
Bomb,
finish,
we'll let
Mom.
you respond to
okay.
him. Go ahead, Fantastic, and then we'll let Bomb chime in to respond. Go ahead.
Again, furthermore, again, if you're not going to be able to fucking trust a woman, okay, to do what she's probably supposed to do, and again, the paternity fraud thing proves this. All these kids being had that are being aborted proves this, because what? Women use children as collateral. The vast majority of women don't give a damn about a child. They see them as an asset, and they see them as a way to fucking make money. And especially in the black community, it's been
With
proven.
20
All
million
right.
being
You and
aborted?
y'all ain't got no money
Interesting.
in the black
Interesting.
community.
Well, we definitely got more than y'all.
I don't think so.
We all broke.
Wait. Let me say this. Let me say.
You can't do this shit with me.
And let's
Don't.
read the super chats too.
Wait.
Hold on, Fantastic.
I'm trying to figure out one thing. Because y'all saying that women are dying to keep your kids, but they're aborting 20 million kids have been aborted. Which one is it?
It makes sense.
They talk out of both sides of their mouth.
Wait. I don't have to make it make sense. You guys can look at the stats. This is you can look at
Drop the stats.
Somebody pull it up and put it in the fucking thing. Listen, man, this is not.
What you mean?
Put the link in. This is not made up. This is not a fucking fallacy.
We're not saying that it's a fallacy. But what I'm saying, you know what, Fantastic, and this is the big point that I'm trying to drive home. If you know that you don't want kids by a hood rat ass bitch, and you seen her out and she had a fat ass, and you chose to ejaculate inside of her when you know you don't have rights, we're not talking about women in most interpersonal relationships. If women are aborting babies in interpersonal relationships and she's cheating and doing this, that, and the third, yeah, that's probably one issue. That is an issue. I don't think it's as big an issue as most guys seeing a woman with a fat ass and coming inside of that woman. I think that's a bigger issue. I think the hookup culture is a bigger issue. I want to read these super chats, and then I do want to get Topaz in here. Shout out to brother Leo Anthony. He says women of other races are way more responsible with their wounds. Black women collectively are not. They simply blame shift. We will never fix the out of wedlock problem if Black women don't realize they have to be smarter with who they have kids with. And we have to fix it because men also want to pump and dump. And a lot of men are actually relieved when a woman gets an abortion. Let's keep that
really? You added that to his super chat.
Yeah, I did, honey. I had to. I had to give him some extra on that. He gave us $20. He deserved a little bit more. Shout out to Corrine Henry. She says you are definitely balanced. I'm being called demons on other channels in this space. I don't mind because everyone should have their opinions on these subjects. Kareem, it's just gonna be what it is. You know, like I said, homeboy talk shit, but homeboy won't actually come up and have a conversation because it's more beneficial for him to push rhetoric. Shout out to James Hudson. He says Bomb Cherry is lying. Black men makes $43,000 on average. The average white man makes $50,000.
Okay, we not.
That's a lie.
Thank you for the super chat, but your ass is getting timed out for that. Thank you so much.
Don't insult our panelists. Like, be respectful. You can disagree, but don't resort to name calling and calling the panelists derogatory names. We not doing that.
Hey, I only just need 30 seconds.
Wait a minute, because Topaz is trying. She's been patiently and graciously
Dennis,
waiting.
after that, we'll come back to you because I know you didn't get an opportunity to finish your point because things got a little riled up. But we got to get Topaz in here because she hasn't had an opportunity to speak. Go ahead, Topaz. Welcome to the panel. And what do you have to say about the topic, sis?
A whole lot. Listen, y'all let my loquacious ass up here, so here we go. Right. Thank you, Sister George, for recognizing my patience. I came up here initially. Huh?
I just said, yes, honey. Patience of a saint. Get them, Topaz. We ready for it.
All right. Well, see, listen, I came up here after I sent my super chat, because I wanted to bring up the point that you can't legislate good behavior. Anything that is created. So first of all, the topic of today was about abortions, right? That was initially created for married people. Every time you create something, you just got to understand that there is the potential for it to be abused, because you can't possibly think of every single thing as you're creating something. You're trying to solve one problem, and then people with other, value systems or whatever can come along and find a loophole. So now we have people using abortions to cover up bad behavior. You can't legislate good behavior. You can put it into practice, but as long as people can think, they'll be able to find loopholes, and it's not going to do what you want to do. The point of that is you have to speak to the motivation of the individual. And so I think that we have a problem in the Black community. I'm not concerned with what other communities do. I don't care what their stats are. What I'm saying is the fact that we as a Black community have not created a community in which people want to give birth, and that they are capable of raising a well-rounded individual that can help us out in society as they get adults. The fact that that happens is because it's a slippery slope. We allow a lot of bad behavior. There was a reason before abortion was even a thing. There was a reason why people were more selective with who they had sex with, because you were able to see the damage it caused if you were the one that happened to, get the luck of the draw by getting somebody pregnant, or getting pregnant for somebody that you can't raise a kid with. And so I feel like we as a people need to, make better decisions in terms of sex. We place sex on a high pedestal. For what reason? We were taught that that's all we can do. I personally, I sent the super chat because I don't understand how, if you're in poverty, or you're dating somebody that's in poverty, or you're dating somebody that you don't respect as a human being, when I know people like to pump and dump and all that stuff, but that is all pleasure that you have not earned if your business ain't taken care of. If you have the possibility to be ruined by child support, or you have the possibility of somebody aborting a kid that you wanted to raise, that means you didn't pick the right person to sleep with. And I'm not blaming you for it, because things happen. We're not psychic. Nothing's 100%. You just got the luck of the draw. So to me, everybody's playing Russian roulette with their reproductive capabilities, and now mad at the outcome. Shout out to Curlin. Shout out to Curlin for his super chat, because that's exactly what I came up here to say. All of this, as the man, something is natural, right? The woman naturally carries the baby. There is nothing, no amount of scientific experiments or surgeries or whatever can ever reverse that. That is something we are never going to be able to get past. So once you hand her over, like Mom said, once you hand over your sperm to her, now you have to trust her. And what happens is you should have picked a woman that is going to pick the same outcome as you. Now, here's the thing. I'm willing to understand that the woman could have lied to you. She could have said, I don't want kids either. And you trusted that she was going to make the same decision that you would have made. But here's the thing. If you weren't sleeping with a woman that you couldn't see yourself make a kid with, you wouldn't even have to worry about that. So the answer shouldn't, like, every choice that's available shouldn't be chosen. Just because you have the option to do something doesn't mean you should ever take that path. And if you do take that path, then you got to be willing to, as part of adulting. See, this is the problem with Black community. We don't adult. Huh?
That wasn't for you, Topaz. Go ahead, dear. I'm sorry. Oh. If you're not speaking, please make sure your mic is muted.
Well, I feel like we as a Black community, we don't adult well. We still stuck in teenage years. This is stuff that I would expect to have to school teenagers on. And I do see teenagers. Primarily my practice is adolescents and young adults. So these are questions I was expecting, like from 14, 15-year-olds, because, sex is so amazing. They just figured it out. They just discovered it. They don't know how to handle it, right? Once you're in your 20s, and God forbid your 30s and 40s, like I've seen people come in my office at 40 years old needing, mediation and needing counseling because they had a baby with somebody they can't stand, and they 40 years old. So at that age, you have to know that there are consequences to what you do. So I'm not blaming the men, but what I am saying is, if y'all, like, if the fact that you got the chicks that y'all claim, like, let men tell it, women with a big booty or a nice shape, they just got the worst attitudes ever. And they don't. What they have is knowledge of their options. So if you already know that, you need to require her to bring something else to the table. Men tell women like that they don't have to think, that they don't have to be responsible. It's always going to be somebody to pick up the slack because they want to be able to brag and say, this is what I'm doing right now. But your friend's gonna be laughing at you, because while you got the woman and you bragging on her shape and all of that, and you ain't requiring her to do nothing else but look nice for your friends to brag to, then when she finally gets pregnant and she decides that now she wants your income, Well, your friends is now like, yeah, nigga, it wasn't all it was cracked up to be, huh? But you wasn't paying attention to that. So when we tell y'all, like the women up here, I find it hard pressed to believe that any of us, the women up here, have any friends that just feel like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna trap this nigga with a baby. I can't stand him, but his wallet is nice, so I'm gonna get a baby with him, and we just gonna argue forever. Because I can tell you right now, my homegirls can't call me with that bullshit. I'm busy. You need to figure that out, because you willingly chose that as an adult. And if I didn't go down that route, why do I now have to care about what you're going through? That's just, to me. So I feel like we need to be better grown-ups, and a lot of this stuff will solve itself. And if you just so happen to get somebody pregnant, like let's say abortion wasn't a thing, right? That means every child that's created is coming into the world. So if that's the case, you have to be able to, you're going to have to work it out with this person. There is no just, oh, well, I don't care anymore. So why even put yourself in that predicament? I'm not willing to play Russian roulette with my future like that. And I'm done.
Thank you, Topaz. You said a mouthful. You was dropping all kind of gems,
I said a lot.
I appreciate you. But I want to read the super chat we got from the real Dana.
Hey,
she
Dana.
says, hey, Dana. She says, hey, just tuned in. Did anyone mention all the men who paid or sponsored or supported their significant others' abortions? Most abortions are paid for by men. That is an interesting point, Dana. We did talk about the fact that, one of the reasons that women have abortions is because the man does not want to keep the child. But that's a good point. A lot of them are paid for by the male. So we didn't visit that point specifically, but thank you for bringing it up. We appreciate you.
Ladies, I want to address something because I feel like there's been a lot of like dust thrown in the air, and
well, we're gonna
it's clouding.
Hold on one second, Hood Servative. I'm gonna let you go because we're actually going to start the process to wrap it up. So we're gonna have final comments, but we'll go starting with you because I do want to hear what you have to say, and I know you've been trying to chime in quickly. I just want to read China White's super chat. She said, "Hey, ladies, good topic." Thank you, China. We appreciate you, boo. Thank you. Go ahead, Hood Servative. Take it away. It's all yours. Are you there, Hood Servative?
You got the floor. You got the mic. Don't that sound like somebody corny? Y'all remember?
We're getting some feedback. Go ahead.
He sound like he in a booth or something. I don't know. Is he
I know, or rub it up against the mic or something. What's going on?
No, sorry about that. I'm on my fucking headset, street headset. Sorry, but I wanted to say one thing because you guys like to hold this issue of accountability over men's heads, and as closing thought, let me just get this out. I think it's the height of hypocrisy for women over the last 40 years to fight for control over every aspect of the interactions with men. Every aspect of the interaction with men, you have full control over that, and you fought for that right in that position. What's the point of having, what's the point of giving women equality? What's the point of giving women, freedoms and privileges if when it comes down to it, you have, let's say 90% of control over the entire process of having sex, who you want to have sex with, having sex, getting pregnant, deciding to keep the baby or not, and you want to put 90% of the responsibility on men. And frankly, men, if you really, really want to get to it, the ladies have told us this several times, do not trust them. They've said it in several ways. And when it comes down to it, the main reason why you can't trust them, even if they don't want to admit to saying that, you shouldn't trust them for this one reason. How can you hold her to her word? She can drag you to the law. She can make shit up and drag you to the law. She can drag you to the law for other niggas' babies. How can you hold her to her word? How can you actually hold her accountable? And until we solve that issue of, on an individual level, a man can hold a woman accountable for the damage and destruction she brings into his life, we will always be stuck in this mud.
Excellent points, Hood Servative. I think you did bring about some good points to the topic. You came with it today.
He came with some fire, and I ain't even mad at it. Even challenging our opinions and the comments we made. I appreciate you. Thank you for your contribution to the discussion.
And thank you so much for your Cash App. He says, y'all killing trust, black pill. Trust has been dead a long time. And the whole thing is you have to get with somebody that's on your program that's really into you and has your best interests at heart, I say y'all asses need to go back to courting. So that's my thing. But next we'll have Chaos Rain. Chaos Rain, what are your final thoughts? And shout out to John Doe for the super sticker. I'm done. Chaos, what are your thoughts?
We already know notion as men that this is so-called master, black or white. It is come conclusion that you should not trust no bitch. I mean, really, is that what the discussion we all men been talking about for decades now? About what we do with our seeds with these women in America? I mean, it's evident now. So we can keep playing around with this conversation. That's cool. But at the end of the day, you're going to get the same results. Nothing's going to change. Either you're going to do two options. Either you wear 2 condoms, either you pull out, or you have no sex. Because damn sure no man that's either on this panel or in general is going to get no vasectomy. Well, no, that's out the question. So you have to go to plan B. And plan B probably makes more sense. But know this, as long as you participate in casual sex here in the West, we call America, you're putting yourself at risk. Unless men decide to do something with the laws. And really, truly, I don't see much men doing anything action-wise in that fashion. So, like I said, we could sit there and complain about it all day, every day. Know that these women are going to do what they're going to do. You as a man, you're going to have to make a decision. All right?
Thank you, Chaos. We appreciate you. Thank you for coming and contributing to the conversation, brother. We got a super chat real quick that I want to read from Black Wizard ADOS. Black Wizard says, some women take advantage of men, but it's irresponsible to think any woman will automatically have your well-being at heart. If you can't trust her, there is no relationship. Don't have sex with people you don't trust. Thank you, Black Wizard. I've been saying that all day, but they ain't trying to hear me. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
They just want to be able to do it. And how they want to say, I am in charge of the sperm.
I'm trying to tell you, I wanted to let Dennis go next because I know he had something that he wanted to comment earlier. So, Dennis, what are your final comments and any other commentary that you wanted to provide?
Yeah, look, man. I think this is a good conversation. Like, obviously, me and Fantastic got a little into it, but here's the thing, and here's the thing about this whole accountability thing. I get that. Sometimes things happen. I understand that. Sometimes you try to do the right thing and things just happen. But at the end of the day, a lot of the guys in this red pill space, one of the things that we talk about a lot is just the true human nature, and particularly the human nature of a woman. For example, I've been in situations where, I'm in a committed relationship with a woman, or even just hooking up casually with a woman. And I've seen her take her birth control every single day at the same time. Cause you know how like chicks would do, they'll set that that daily reminder. And you know what I still do? I still hop in my car. I still head down to Walmart or whatever, or I get some condoms. Or if I'm feeling really lazy, I'll hop on Amazon, got that Amazon Prime, and I'll deliver me some. This is my whole point. My whole point is this is, you can never be too careful, especially when it comes to your seed, your legacy, when it comes to making life altering decisions. I get it. You're in a committed relationship and you can trust somebody else. And I get that. But when it comes to your legacy and stuff like that, that's something that men shouldn't take lightly. And I'm just going to be honest, a lot of men shouldn't be dealing with hood rats in the first place. A lot of issues that a lot of men face when it comes to women, can automatically be resolved by just dealing with a higher quality and a higher caliber woman. I never deal with any hood rats or any woman who's not doing anything with their life. Because also too, when you're actually dealing with, for example, a higher quality or higher caliber person, they have things to lose as well. So if the average man is just dealing with a hood rat or a chick that's not really doing anything with her life, you're just looking for problems. And so that's all I had to say about the whole accountability piece is you can never be too careful, especially nowadays, especially when you're dealing with people who you don't really know, casual sex, even relationships, all of this stuff like that. You never really know. So to be honest, I try to, when it comes to my legacy and my last name, I try to control that as much as possible. I mean, what are some things that you do? Like, what are some things I do? For example, I actually have a condom carrying case. I don't put condoms in my car. I don't put them in my wallet. Like, stuff like that. Like, if I'm going through a drought and like I meet somebody, I will go out and get a fresh batch just to make sure. Like, that's what I mean by accountability. So, like, that's all I have to say is like, because again, like I have a lot of things that I'm trying to do with my life. I'm trying to become a physician. I'm actually trying to like leave my mark on the world. And to be honest, I can't leave that up to another person, especially with emotions and people can turn out to be fickle and that, change their mind and stuff like that. So that's what I mean by accountability.
Thank you, Dennis. Definitely appreciate your comments. Thank you for what you've added to the conversation. I know just a a disagreement between you and Fantastic. I think you guys are just coming from two different perspectives, but I'm glad that we could have you back up to add your 2 cents to the conversation because it's valuable. You always add interesting perspective and pretty good commentary. So thank you for rejoining us. We appreciate you. And then I'm going to have Melody give us her final comments on the topic. Melody,
Before Melody goes, I just wanted to say this real quick to Hood Servative's point. He says he doesn't trust any woman, but he won't just say they're the enemy. Hood Servative, do you want black women to view black men as the enemy? Do we want to view each other as the enemy? And I think that's a big problem with our community now. We're already told we should be against each other, but you guys get so offended if a black woman is clutching her purse and saying that she doesn't feel protected in her community or she doesn't feel protected at certain points. And I already understand you guys' arguments on protection and stuff like that. But when black women say they are scared of you, or when black men say they are scared of you, or you guys are scared of each other, or black people are being portrayed a certain way in the media, I think you have to trust who you build bonds with, and I think that's what it is. That's the thing that we've been trying to drive home from the get-go. When you build bonds and stuff with somebody, I do think it's okay to drop walls then to a certain degree, but outside of you just having sex with Boom Quisha, no, you shouldn't trust Boom Quisha if you don't know Boom Quisha from a can of fucking paint. Yeah, I wouldn't trust Tyrone either. If I just met Tyrone and I hooked up with him, I wouldn't trust Tyrone either. So I think that's a big part of the problem. But go ahead, Melody. I just had to get that out real quick.
Okay, thanks for having me, guys. And I think it's safe to say that the responsibility lays on both the men and a woman because they're both responsible for using condoms and birth control. Or just wait till you're married before you go raw and shoot up the club.
Perfectly said, Melody. Say that. We appreciate you, Melody. Thank you for your contribution to the panel and for joining us, Boo.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. We got a super chat from Nyla says, thank you, Nyla. She says,
Hey,
men need to value. She says, men need to value their peen and seed. If child support and the man is the boogeyman, choose better and stop saying that women control relations. Good stream. Thank you, Nyla. We appreciate it. Thank you for the super chat and the acknowledgement. And then we will have Topaz present her final commentary, and then we'll have Mr. Fantastic. Topaz, what you got for us?
Well, okay, so in my final comments, I just want to address the belief that I'm blaming men, right? Here's the thing. When I speak about these things, they're not assigning blame because I don't understand the point of assigning blame. What difference does it make unless you're talking about the solution, right? And in the solution, to assign the blame is only step one, and it shouldn't be something that just clouds the entire conversation. You assign the blame, and then you use that to figure out the solution, and then you move on. You don't keep harping on it, right? So I want to say that I don't blame men because that to me would be victim shaming, and I am completely against that. All I'm saying is You can't predict if she's going to abide by your agreement. You're not psychic, okay? All you can do is say, I had this rationale, and this is why I was led to believe that she would uphold our agreement. And then therefore, I would like to live in a community in which adults can use their reasoning skills and say, yeah, he was, he did all his due diligence, and that this is just an evil woman who had set out to plan to trap him with a baby, or no, he didn't do his due diligence. And in this case, yeah, nigga, that's you. And here's the thing, it's because we learn vicariously through other people. We don't always have to experience something firsthand. So a lot of people feel like if it didn't happen to me, that means I'm safe. No, it means you've gotten lucky up until this point. So I don't believe that I'm blaming men. What I'm telling men is nobody has your best interest at heart except for you. The other people can look out for you, but they're not going to do it the way you do it. Because at some point, they're going to be forced to choose between you and them. And self-preservation means they're going to choose them. We should know and expect that. You can take things with a grain of salt. So somebody could be looking out for you right now, and you take that for what it is, and you escape this situation, and you move forward, and you don't put yourself in that predicament anymore. So I don't view myself as blaming men. I believe that I'm telling them that, hey, listen, protect yourself. You have something that is wanted. You have something that is valuable. And I say all the time for men to protect their seed, to protect their sperm, to treat it like it's gold, because it is. If she gets a hold of that sperm, she's able to now get 18 years of your time. No matter how much money she gets 18 years of your time and attention. That's invaluable to a lot of women. That's something that you can't put a price. That's priceless. So what I'm saying is, don't give her the opportunity. If you got something to lose, you protect it. Like if you have a bunch of money or a bunch of gold bars, right? You put it in the safe, you put it in the bank. The bank is insured. You have insurance on it. Y'all look out for yourselves in other areas except for when it comes to sex. Why can't you take that same rationale and apply it to your sperm? Because it is, in fact, something that can be used against you. And here's the last thing I'm going to say is that now with everything that happens, right? Let's say men start acting like that. The women are going to adapt. So the first few people that fall for something new, it's a new plan. We as a community should understand that. But after that, after we know now this is a thing, then at that point, everybody else that filed for it is no longer a victim. They are now a volunteer.
Great point, Pass. Thank you. You always come and shut it down with your unique perspective and the way that you're able to tie everything in. We appreciate you, and you said a word, sis. Thank you, boo. We appreciate you. Thank you for joining the panel.
I'm glad y'all let me up, because this is a topic that I've been, discussing all week. I had the debate on Teapots, and then I did the live stream with Chaos. I talked about it on For the Record. So this is something I've been talking about all week. So I felt like I had to come up here and just bring it full circle and give my last few points on it.
Good stuff.
We're glad you did. And you're always welcome. Letting you come up, you always have an invitation. So thank you for gracing us with your presence.
Yes.
Well, thank y'all so much, and I'm gonna go ahead and drop down. This was a great stream.
Appreciate it, Topaz.
Thank you.
Really
Enjoy
do.
your Sunday.
Okay, bye, y'all.
Oh, bye-bye, Topaz. Shout out to DJ Naf. He says that's the other thing. The single baby mother statement is always associated with hood rats. There are plenty of professional and women with good jobs involved in the same types of situations. DJ Naf, so all the men who get all these women pregnant aren't pookies? Thanks for the super chat. Mr. Fantastic, what are your final thoughts?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you fine, brother.
Yeah, shout out to DJ Nap. It's like he read my mind. Great minds. Are you guys familiar with this woman named Janet Jackson?
Never
Hell
heard
yeah,
of her.
Janet Jackson got a millionaire paying child support now. Hell yeah.
Wow. Yeah. So again, shout out to DJ Nap, man. Listen, this game, the new game that's being played now is women marrying men for the sake of saying they're not single moms. They had their kids within a marriage. And then within less than 3 years, these women are out of those marriages just to say that they had a kid within a marriage. This is a new baby mama game.
did the same thing. Rudy.
Okay, well, wow. So you guys are proving our points. Thank you. So furthermore, this idea that this is just Boom Quisha and Keisha and all these hood chicks that's out here playing this game. No, it's women at all levels. And
Good
unfortunately,
women
the
get
harsh
pumped and dumped every day, B. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
yeah, hey, pumped and dumped responsibly, B. So this is what I'm saying. Shout out to Ramil. The pump and dump doesn't necessarily mean you're out here getting women pregnant, all right? And of course, you should, like a boxer, protect yourself at all times. The unfortunate and hard truth that we have learned here, especially in the Black community, is that women should not be trusted. I didn't hear a man tell me that. A woman told me that. The first time I ever said, nigga, that's your fault for trusting that bitch. And again, this was a woman that I was in a dedicated, monogamous, long-term relationship with that decided to do the shit she did. She wasn't no motherfucking hood chick. She wasn't no boom quisha and all this other shit. But again, she saw a nigga she wanted to keep in her life, like you guys said, for the 18 years, and she got it through motherfucking sperm jacking. I mean, you know, if you go through the annals of YouTube, there's a famous, infamous sperm jacker on YouTube. We're not gonna get into that. But anyway, listen, the whole thing is this, man. Until we get to the point of where the trust is there, Black people are going to lose. And if you haven't seen the current numbers here, we're well just as a nation altogether, but especially the Black community under the reproductive rate, and men are getting knowledgeable of the ways of women. And it's other men, because I saw it said in the chat that your dad should have taught you. When you had a whole, you know, what, 3-4 generations of men that didn't have dads, that's how the dads aren't taught that. And then especially when the women, a man is taught to have all of his trust in any and everything is through his mama, who is a woman for the whole 18 years of his life, and that's who he's supposed to trust, even when she's dead ass wrong. Then you expect him to just fucking turn that shit off when he's out here in the real world as an adult, trying to look for a love interest or a woman to motherfucking, you know, build his legacy and family and all the things you claim you guys want. But when a Black man does that and a woman turns around and she betray him by doing some foul ass shit, by stealing his sperm and getting pregnant on purpose, and then making his life a living hell, oh, then you should have knew better. There's no way for men to win at this game as long as, you know, this feminism shit is going on, whatnot, what have you. Unfortunately, fellas, wrap it the fuck up and give them throat babies. There's never been one successful throat baby birth in the history of mankind. So run it and roll it that way. Greatly appreciate y'all for letting me come up, man. Y'all have a great day as usual.
Thank you so much,
fantastic.
Mr.
We
Fantastic.
always appreciate your presence. You're always lively with your commentary and saying some wild mess. So thank you for stopping by and gracing the panel, brother. Do you want me to read the comment that's highlighted?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I can read it. Shout
ahead.
out to Your Fave Persuasion. She said at the Breakdown Woman's Perspective Live. And then you have men who say don't abort the child and leave you a single mother any fucking way. Shout out to you, girl. High five, girl, because that ain't that what some of them do?
She ain't
lying. Shout out to Bomb Cherry for the Cash App. Thank you so much, Bomb.
Don't be telling.
We appreciate your support, Bomb, and we appreciate you for stopping by the panel. Want to give you the opportunity for the final comment as our final panelist as it relates to the topic. So what do you have to say about all this mess that we discussed?
This is a great conversation that needs to be had in our community. It just seems like you could tell the difference between the boys and the men, or should I say the mature men and the boys, right? Because when you should not trust anybody you don't know, right? Isn't that a given? I know my dad taught me that. My mom taught me that. Like, you don't trust people you don't know. And just because she got a fat ass and some big titties doesn't mean you know her. So that's that. And I wanted to say that Mr. Fantastic put a link in the back chat, y'all. And I don't think he read it. I think he saw that Black women with the word abortion, and I think he just said, oh, this is probably something against them, so let me just put this link out there. When the article basically states that the information that is being shared about Black women and the number of abortions is false. Okay, because they recognize that white women have access to things we don't have, like medical care. They can go to a doctor and have an abortion. They don't have to go to Planned Parenthood.
Mm-hmm.
So that's all types of things. And I'm not sure these men understand a woman could walk in Planned Parenthood to get an abortion, and she can put that she's Latino, right? She's Hispanic, even though she's white. So they can falsify documents. They don't know who these people are. You don't have to. They don't put who's who when they give the information to Congress, right? When they give the information to the government to keep those stats. But anyway, besides all of that, I just want to say, men, if you thought of your seed as something important, because it truly is, right? If you really thought about it as it's something important, you wouldn't just give it to everybody. Like don't sleep with a woman and not cover up. Don't stop giving these women your seed so they can make money off you. Stop, really stop doing it. And then you can't get angry when she decides to have the baby, because it's not your decision. You don't have to. Well, they got different type of abortions, so it depends on her stage. There's a pill, and then she might have to get on the table, right? So I'm just saying, just be smart about it. And if you held yourself accountable, you would then make smarter decisions. And that's all I got to say about that. What y'all think about that?
Bomb, I think you hit some points home. I still think they're not understanding where we're coming from, because we're still getting these comments. Shout out to brother Leo Anthony. I'm all for men being held accountable, but this blame everything on men and letting women be irresponsible as they want is not going to get us nowhere. Brother Leo, we're going to say this one more time. You know the laws are not in your favor. You know you don't have any reproductive rights as it pertains to that woman's body. You know this. This should be embedded. You should feel this until you are blue in the face. The boogeyman exists. Bad women exist. Bitches who will take your fucking money and use it exist. Bitches who will use a child for whatever, they exist. Women who will fuck you and not call your ass the next day and will take your baby and abort that child, they exist. She exists. Why do y'all keep denying that in your head and then going back and forth with trust? Just like bad niggas exist, fucked up women exist. Get that through your heads. It's not about don't trust this woman, don't trust that woman. Stop trusting random ass bitches. Majority of married women aren't getting abortions. Again, majority of married women aren't getting abortions. Majority of adults who have real life fucking relationships with each other, like they've taken the time and they've invested into each other. They love each other. They respect one another. Those are not the fucking people at the abortion clinic at high rates. But I'm gonna tell you who's there. Boom Quisha's there. You have some married women there. Married women who discuss shit with their spouses, they're there too. But Boom Quisha is probably the majority of the motherfucker that's there. Teenage pregnancy has gone down. Abortion rates has actually gone down within the Black community. But y'all need to acknowledge that bad women exist. And if you getting her pregnant and you thinking that she ain't gonna want a baby and you thinking this, that, and the third, you already putting too much shit into her and not on yourself, which is why I say that shit will revolve on you. If you're the motherfucker being concerned about paying child support, then that is on you because she wanted the baby. And if you know that you're going to be put at a fucking disadvantage in life because of where you put your sperm, that does fall on you as opposed to the person who wanted the baby. So shout out to Melody for the super sticker. We really appreciate that.
Absolutely. Thank you, Melody.
I get I get tired of having these same conversations sometimes, but I be wanting to keep it real with y'all. Y'all act like bad women don't exist, and when women are telling y'all that bad women exist, yeah, believe us, bad women exist just like bad men exist. Y'all know when each other ain't shit. We know when fucking women ain't shit. They're here. Get it through your heads. Your sperm, your responsibility of where you put it. You know these bitches got all the rights. It ain't a goddamn thing nobody gonna do about it.
Yeah, I agree with that. I want to say a few things in closing that it's number one, to Hood Conservative's point, it's not all women. It's not all women are evil, all women are the enemy, or all women are bad women. There are some women who have ill intentions. And because at first glance, you certainly can't decipher between who is who, despite the fact that you may decide to lay with this woman, you should protect yourself. I think, though, that when you say we shouldn't trust any women, or you shouldn't trust any women, or you're talking about how you don't trust the women that you lay with, that says more about you than the women that you lay with. That you're willing to lay with somebody that you haven't established trust with, that you're willing to insert your seed inside someone and you don't know if they're going to have ulterior motives, or what type of person this person really is, or maybe even the woman's last name. That's a reflection of you. Like, the type of people you attract says something about you. It's really a mirror that's being held up, that's showing you something about yourself that you're probably not even acknowledging. I think that, anytime we formulate a dissenting opinion, or an opinion that differs from the masses in this space, y'all try to hit us with associating our comments with the sisterhood. Literally, we're up here literally telling Black men all we're doing is simply telling Black men to protect yourself, because as it stands, there is no other protection that has been created for you outside of yourself. There are, other remedies. If a woman becomes pregnant and the man skips out, they have other options that they can take advantage of. But as a Black man, or as a man, if you impregnate someone and they decide to keep the baby, you're fresh out of options aside from doing something illegal. So as a result, we're telling you, this is the way our society is set up. Make sure that you're taking the proper precautions to ensure that you're protecting yourself, that you're being selective with your seed, and that you are, properly vetting the women that you lay with, and not being so gung-ho to get a piece of tail that you're putting yourself in a compromising position. And that's literally the message that we're saying, and you guys are, are not receiving it, or saying that it's, or saying that it's hypocritical, or yada, yada, yada. But Fantastic essentially said the same thing, and I didn't see any of those comments geared towards his statement. So
they want to trust the pump and dump. That's what they want to trust. They want to be able to trust the pump and dump, and then say that those women should be allies.
I think, what I think it is, Danny? I think it depends on the messenger. I think, like, they're ignoring the message depending upon who the messenger is. So if the messenger comes from someone in this space, or another Black male, they can receive it. But because it's coming from us, it's, oh, you guys are hypocrites. Oh, you guys are,
what concrete. They say we should be talking to the women about pumping and dumping. Yeah, we try to get women over here. We try to get women to come listen to our message just as well. And there are some women, we had plenty of women come through in this chat today. A couple women jumped up on this panel. Women are saying the same fucking things to you. Stop trusting bitches. You can't have you trusting bitches that with temporary relationships, and we're telling you to be careful.
Let me just finish this before I forget my thought.
I'm sorry,
so I know I'm passionate about this too. I just wanted to say, dang, I forgot just that quick. As it relates to the fact that we should be talking to women, we do have streams where we're strictly gearing our message towards the women. But why would we be talking to women about what, even if we were having the conversation with women, that's still negates the fact that as men, you all should be protecting yourself. I think it's more important because a woman is going to do what suits and serves her best. So we can have the conversation with women regarding, the proper way to move as it relates to not getting pregnant by someone that they don't want to be pregnant by, but women are still going to act within their own best interest. We're only simply saying that you should also act within your own best interest. So if your best interest is to not impregnate someone that you barely know or that you don't trust will do, will engage you in whatever the decision-making process is, then ensure that you're protecting yourself so that you're acting in your own best interest. And that's essentially all that we're saying. I think that it gets, we get so bogged down in doing this blame game, pointing the fingers, it's your fault, no, it's his fault, it's her fault, no, it's his fault, that we kind of gloss over the overall message that we're trying to relay. And the message is simply Black men need to ensure that they're being autonomous and that they are governing themselves and doing what's in their own best interest, because Black women gonna do what's in their own best interest. And that's all I got.
Shout out to Nuruddin. He says, fellas, be careful, don't date single mothers with children. They have a law called equitable parent doctrine. And Nuruddin, we'll see y'all asses at the federal building. He got the directions. He gonna let you know where it's at. Shout out to Chocolate. That part. Thank you so much for the
super chat. We appreciate you. Also, thank you to everybody who joined the panel. This was a fiery panel. It was some good perspectives that came out, even those that we didn't necessarily agree with. Hoodservative came with some good, pretty good game and gems that he was dropping. And Topaz and everybody who stopped by just had something interesting to say and something dynamic to add to the conversation. So thank you guys for joining the panel. Thanks for all the super chats and cash apps and this crazy chat, baby. It's something else.
Yes, I enjoyed y'all today. We will be back here on Wednesday. Hope to see you guys then. Have a great start to the week. We're out.
Peace.